You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids. And I'm just gonna swing this a little bit this way. There we go. There we go. That's much better.
Get you into frame.
And I remember I had to move it out of the way to do something yesterday, and I never put it back. Welcome to Season 3 and Episode number 168 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day, is Friday, July 21st, 2023. And even though it rained overnight, as you might be able to tell by my face and the sunlight coming out of the window just emerging, it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day here at the Beaver Lodge, which means I have some tennis later this afternoon. I played yesterday. I do not know if it's just because I hadn't played for a week because last week was really busy, or if like about a week and a half ago after the incident with the neighbor happened and then I went out to play and there was nothing in me, because the other day we had to like go back into that when we were talking about the constable and, you know, who's going to go talk to him and is there going to be any fallout? Well, yesterday it was the same damn thing. Same damn thing. There was just like nothing. No power, no speed, just nothing. No matter how I kept on hitting the ball, and it was like there was a magnet in the net. It would go all the way up to the net and then fall. It was just like, what the hell?
It's not how
It's just,
it's not
it's
supposed
like,
to go that way.
swing, damn it. Swing. Put some oomph in it. And there was nothing. Really weird. I don't know. I mean, I had fun anyway, but it was just like you're sitting there like this. I spent the whole match apologizing to the guy because, I mean, literally neither of us broke a sweat. We played for 40 minutes
Well,
and
that's
neither of
not
us
great.
broke a sweat. And in fact, we play up to 8. The match was, we had time to play 3 more games. We played 11. That's how bad, that's how nothing was happening. I couldn't rally. Nothing was happening. I spent the whole time, I'm so sorry I made you waste your time. You just... I'm not a tons better than this, but I am better than this. It was.
Those are the days when you go, you know what? Let's just walk off. This is not working. Let's just,
Well, I felt like that at one
have
point.
a beer.
I felt like that at one point, and I said, you know what? Well, no, just keep working at stuff, right? And eventually, by the 9th game, I had managed, I managed to win win one, and then by the 11th I had managed to win two. But it's like, holy crap, man. Yeah, it was a little embarrassing. I literally was target practice, but the worst part was it's not like the guy was like running hard to one end and then smacking it. He was just going doody doody doo boop doody doody, and it's like placing it all. I'm like, oh come on, man! Like this is humiliating. Could you at least swing at one? Make you feel like you had to work for one.
Like, make it look.
Like this, or make it look like you're beating me. You know? But when I'm like, he's just like 1-2 step, just like hitting it lightly, and it's like, really, no, just like do. I'm not making this guy run. I'm like sitting there, okay, to the corner, down the middle, right to him, to the corner, and down the middle, right to him. I'm going like, I'm swinging for here, and it's going here. What the hell?
So he's just standing in the middle, just going black.
Literally, and maybe like one step to the left, one step to the right, up, like nothing. The
so you were
kept
playing
going straight up
pickleball, basically.
Seriously.
They call that the doink. That's the doink. I don't know.
I had the doinks yesterday. Yep.
I'm making it up.
Well, it's the word. I had the doinks yesterday. Just it was not happening. So somewhere along the way, I had to decide, okay, I need to get something else out of today because I'm going to go home crying. Oh man, I'm your host, the eager beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver, and with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly, as you can hear. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Mr. Grizzly, today's going to be a fun day. First, how's your mental health? And then we'll tell the kids why it's going to be fun.
Well, the mental health. Huh. You know, I was not doing good last night. Went to bed very early. Some stuff happened. Life goes on. It wasn't a good night. It wasn't a good night. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too personal here. Some things need to be kept private. But I'm doing better this morning. I had some contemplation and meditation time, and you know, sometimes you make mistakes and you have to, you know, that's why they put erasers on pencils, right? You gotta clean up your mistake and move on. And yesterday was kind of one of those days. I did spend some time with my dad. We went to the Legion, and they had a sing song. Him and a bunch of his buddies. They had guitars out. He's like, "You want to sing one? You want to play one?" And I'm like, "You wouldn't know any of the music that I play." And number one, and number two, since my hearing loss, I really have a difficult time hearing my guitar properly while I'm trying to play it. So some of the joy that I received from playing guitar has been drained out of me because I can't hear it again. It doesn't sound right to me. And it was my right ear, and that was the one that was my dominant ear. And now I'm trying to get left dominant. So I have to turn my head while I'm playing guitar and then trying to sing. And it's difficult for me. I guess if I practiced more and played more, which I think I should start doing again, because you need to rediscover the joy sometimes, and it's kind of been on the shelf for the last 6 years, I guess. 2017 was when I had my hearing loss. So yeah, that's 6 years. Holy shit! Mind you, the last 3 have been a blur, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, so I spent time with my dad yesterday at the Legion, and went out to dinner with my mom and dad, and we had a really nice time, and then came home, and just, you know, I think I'm doing good today. I did get a lot of sleep last night, so I think that helps, and I got a full pot of coffee in front of me, so I think I'm doing okay. We'll see how the day goes, but I'm excited because we have a special guest today, as people know. Your old pal Jake is joining us from the What You Can Do, WYCD, and shall we bring him on in?
Yes, absolutely. Hey.
The mighty balding eagle has arrived.
Welcome back to the Beaver Lodge, my friend. How are you?
Delighted to be hanging out with you guys. I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, obviously, we got a full pot coffee, so things are looking up.
Yeah. Just to let kids know, in the pre-show chat, we were talking about the shirt
color coordination.
Yes,
the color.
Yes.
And we mentioned how in Canada Orange Shirt Day relates to the Indigenous community, but this is different because there's a little blue to go with this red and white. And this morning, your Queen Beaver had her Cheerios from an orange bowl.
That
So
bowl almost looks Ukrainian, almost. Eh?
It does,
It
eh?
almost looks like a Ukrainian Easter egg.
Yeah. There you go. They're pretty bowls.
Love it.
Why all the orange, you may ask?
Indeed.
Our old pal Jake. Yeah, today is you know what? There's strikes in BC ports, or maybe not strikes. We don't know what's going on right there. There's whole PP might is like trying to make his makeover work, but we ain't got time for that today. Because
nobody got time for that
today. If Schadenfreude's wrong, I don't want to be right. Come on, Jake. Let's dish.
Orange might be a very popular color amongst former presidents real soon. Real soon.
A nice one-piece orange suit.
Yeah, a single garment affair for sure.
Trending for fall and winter. And spring and summer and next fall and next winter.
And for the next, 5 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Rietmans 1, haute couture 0.
Well, I saw a thing yesterday where a woman who, I think she's 73 years old, and she says we were duped. She was a fake elector, apparently, and she's facing 80 years in prison.
Yeah.
80 years.
I think there's one who said they thought they were signing an attendance sheet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me just tell you, for the record, they were absolutely not duped.
No.
It could not have been more telegraphed. In my state specifically, a bunch of these dingbats on December 14th tried to sneak in to the Capitol building.
I know.
This is why I'm
so happy we have you.
They got turned away by the cops, and just like, well,
who are you?
Who would have thought?
We're the electors. The electors are actually in the building already.
They're already here.
I thought this was legitimate when we were creeping in at 2 a.m. with the lights off on our cars.
And then they had to
that's the normal.
And then they had to go into the
right?
basement of the GOP headquarters to have the meeting.
But I thought it was on the left.
There's nothing like having the law say that it has to be in the building, because I believe that's what the law says, and then saying, well, since we can't have it in the building and we got caught trying to go in like this, let's just go into the basement. Of course, right? Because who couldn't write it better? Of our headquarters, where the orb that glows is. Just like,
it's going to be so hard to explain to future generations how these folks were the villains of this time. Like, why didn't you guys just immediately arrest them? I don't know. Can't answer that. Oh, God. I'm surprised they weren't, like, in the parking lot, like in the parking structure, being like, and we're signing it. We're technically in the building. You all saw.
Will you validate my parking?
I don't know what happened to my camera.
Oh, I just thought your head turned into an @ sign.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm working on it in the background here. Something's gone sideways. Although I think there's a software update happening at the worst possible time.
Because of course, damn you, Trudeau.
Oh,
you
God.
Again, Trudeau.
You guys really are like about 5 to 6 years delayed with your political scandals. That's very much our thanks, Obama. Hey, he's back. All right.
Yeah, I'll just switch cameras there.
Oh, nicely done.
Ooh, Mr. Grizzly's side view. Look at the profile. Quel profile.
Zoom it in a little bit. Yeah, you can see. See, you don't see where my nose was broken as badly here. Right? But if I give you the other side, yeah. Anyway, I'll adjust here accordingly. Let me just
my Barbara Streisand moment.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, but here's the thing, right? you're in Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's
Yes,
where like the juiciest stuff is happening. Okay,
Let me tell you.
this like this, you could not be the most perfect guest. Okay, first of all, kids, like you have to understand, right? I try to keep the stuff Canadian, but I mean, this guy is like
Mhm.
the
It's
world's
too juicy.
biggest attention whore. So I mean, and the downfall, like I said yesterday, is in 4K 24/7 on every screen. You want it to be famous, baby? You got it. Okay, so the first set of these electors to face charges are facing charges in Michigan
The great
because
state.
Dana Nessel is not messing around.
Let me tell you.
Oh.
Let me tell you
Tell
about
me more.
Dana
Tell me more.
Knock 'em out Nessel. This gal is a beer swilling former stand-up comedian, fun fact, who does not give a solitary about about offending people who ought to be offended. And man, she has not pulled any punches. For a little background on her, she literally saved the governor, who was there was a whole kidnapping plot against this gal.
Yeah.
She gives us back in the day in the newsroom an email one afternoon saying, "Just be ready for tomorrow. Whoever your A team is, have them there." And the next day, bright and early, raid after raid after raid, hillbillies from all over getting picked up. We find out it's the Wolverine Watchmen. That same fire is what had her, thank God, stand up to Merrick Garland and say, "Okay, well, 2022's come and gone. Looks like we're not going to get a timely investigation of this coup." And so she opens up a state level investigation into the fake electors. I'll be honest with you, I was starting to get worried because the calendar days, the pages were flipping. We weren't hearing word one. And then this announcement. The fake electors, which include major in this country, you got the National Republican Party, and I'm sure it's very much the same. Then there's the local. Well, our state Republican Party, basically, the major leadership from years past are the fake electors. So
it's like the GOP chair in the state of Michigan, the state Republican National Committee member, a mayor.
In other words, people who should have known better. People who really can't say, "Well, I didn't know how this worked." No, they it's going to be real hard to make that argument in a court of law.
They're going to get Kwame Kilpatricked on that one, I think.
Yeah,
because here's a guy who was crooked, no doubt, but there have been other people who've done many worse things, and they sent him up the river for what, like 150 years or something insane. Like,
it's worth noting there's a non-zero chance, and I have to choose my words here because of YouTube's algorithm. There's a non-zero chance this guy Kwame Kilpatrick arranged for the permanent goodbye, let's say, of a dancer. It was never proved, but boy, Kwame Kilpatrick, I'll just say, deserves all the ill will he can get. Unfortunately, he was pardoned by Trump.
Yeah.
So let's hope they don't get fully Kwame Kilpatrick, but just a half Kilpatrick.
Yeah, the half Kilpatrick. We'll go for the kill. Just go for the kill.
There you go. He said it, not me. FBI.
Not literal.
No. Single L.
Yeah.
Single L.
So
that's right.
Apparently,
K-I-L.
When badass Nessel was talking about it, she said specifically that this was part of a, quote, attempt to undermine democracy, a desperate, quote, attempt to undermine democracy. There may be more charges coming than the ones that are there, but it seems that if we're looking at one guy named Kent Vanderwood,
Yep.
conspiracy to commit forgery, 2
Mm.
counts of forgery. So conspiracy to commit them and then actually committing it. Conspiracy to commit uttering and publishing and then uttering and publishing. Conspiracy to commit election law forgery and then 2 counts of election law forgery. A lot of these have maximum sentences of 14 years. I assume all of these people would be first offenders, so saying 14
Yeah.
years. But maximum 14 years, these are serious felonies. And there are 1, 2, 3, well, with 2 extra counts. And anyway, there's more than a mittful.
And in weird
And then there are
Michigan,
16 people.
Mm.
And all of them
Yeah.
are charged. All of them.
Thank God. I first of all, just for clarity, in weird Michigan terms, I don't know why this is, but uttering and publishing is just essentially fraud.
Mhm.
There it is. I would hope. I don't want to say expect in 2023 in world politics, but I would hope that we're going to see Dana Nessel on a national level. If she doesn't get appointed by somebody for something, I'll be shocked because she's earned it.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it says that so each of them were charged with at least 8 felony counts each.
Yeah,
16, and like when we're talking about this, right? It's not only did they go to the building and then couldn't get in, and then held the meeting anyway, but then they actually like created documents that
Yeah.
looked like the actual documents saying we are the duly elected and qualified electors, quote. And then they took these documents and then they tried to submit them to the Senate,
yeah,
the state Senate, and they were turned away. So then they went to the U.S. Senate, where Mike Pence was supposed to be doing his thing, and they sent them to the National Archives because they thought that the National Archives wouldn't have already received that document from the actual electors, and that the National Archives wouldn't be going, well, gee, we have 2 sets. I guess they both can't be real. Maybe we should look into that. So I mean, they tried real hard, right?
here's
We didn't know.
there's been rightly so much focus on folks like Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani that frankly it's taken some real effort just to draw attention to these other folks, and we haven't even gotten to like some interesting questions. Like you brought up a very good point, which is that these documents looked just like or very similar to the official documents. At a minimum, they look like official documents. That doesn't just happen. That somebody put in work for that. Okay, who was the person they told to forge these documents? What was said? Did they say make this look real? Did they say make it indistinguishable from the real article? In their exchanges, were any of them written down?
And we know that there's something because this happened in more than one state, and some of the states made documents that had a little distinction from other ones, and a couple of the states they said, in case these electors are rejected, we are the electors, right? Not we are the duly, like this.
Exactly.
So there's a couple, so that like the governor of Nevada decided not to pursue them. I don't know if Nevada is one of those states where they made one of those exceptions, but you know. In Georgia, some people in Georgia, Lewis is going after some of them too. At least 8 have got an immunity deal, but the other 8 we don't know. Right?
Same question then. So you've got these. They get draft number 1 of these, and you know they were asked to do it a certain way because they're all very similar, and a change was made on some. Again, who was told to make the change to the actual physical document? Who was told to do this, and where are the communications between them? What was said? Because this is the sort of
because deductive reasoning says that if all of them started the same and then some of them changed, some of them had the discussion, guys, if we do this, we're setting ourselves up. Let's cover our butts. And some did.
If you are let's just say a group. What's another name for a group? Like an official group, like an organization, let's say. Let's say you're going to somebody in your organization and you're asking them to do a crime. Is there some sort of a phrase for an organization that does crime?
Racketeering?
Organized crime. That's I just came
Organized
to me.
crime.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And that's why it looks like Fonnie Willis in Georgia is looking to maybe go full Little Rico.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've been listening to some 90s pop tunes celebrating that very fact. Fantastic. One by a Mr. Suave.
Rico. Suave.
Really fun music video available on YouTube.
Well, and I have a actually I need to so here at the top of the show I wanted to send out I'm just sending out a link to a friend of mine here, but I have some music that we're going to debut on the show today. Well, I'll do it in a little bit, not right now, but some music from. We did a little recording session a couple of days ago with our good friend Spencer Rice, and Spencer Rice is a blues man. For those of you who don't know, it's Spenny from Kenny versus Spenny. He's a hell of a blues man, and I've got
That's awesome.
We recorded some stuff the other day, and it's good. It's good. I only have audio because of the way the system worked. I could only get the audio file recorded. So we'll take a little musical interlude in a few minutes here, and we'll put it up, and we'll have some music playing for you.
Awesome.
And I mean, we couldn't have a better guest.
Exactly.
I love a good tune. I'm excited. I love blues.
I know. I know.
He's an amazing player too.
Wow. And clearly, you know Kenny and Spenny.
That's nuts. How did you guys meet up?
Through James, through
on
the
our
Black
network.
Balls.
That's
on
just
our
cool
network.
as hell, man.
Yeah.
You're everywhere. I love it.
Okay, now here's the other thing. Now this has probably, I mean, indirectly with Trump, but because Michigan is a very special place. Jake, please. It seems that there have been 2 consecutive meetings of the statewide Republican Party that have resulted in actual physical violence, including somebody getting kicked in the nards.
Yeah, I mean,
they're literally fighting each other.
Now here's the thing. I that's like 90%, let's say, Republican culture. I gotta be honest though, it's about 10% Michigan.
10%.
Yeah. Even Dana Nessel, like on the opposite end of the aisle, she got beer drunk at a game of some sort, and somebody someone in the news questioned her about it, and she was at that point beer hungover, and her response was essentially, "Why don't you go yourself?" And like that sort of thing, you get 2 of those folks in a room, it escalates, nards get kicked.
Stuff happens.
We're not proud of it. We just show up the next day, pretend like nothing happened.
Because I didn't know when the odds guy was coming at me dukes up.
But I mean, that's the Republican Party these days as well. Like, there's the Democrats have those dingbats too. It's just we have usually at least one former.
We jello rest because we're perverts.
Yeah, we're just proper old-fashioned perverts, not this new weird nonsense. Just traditional perverts in the Democratic Party.
Jello pudding wrestling. That's how we solve stuff.
Yes. or a face slapping contest in the alley out back, and then afterwards we lie to our kids and say we were just having discussion, that sort of thing. But no, the Republicans, first of all, the lady who I think I think she's still the leader of the Republican Party in Michigan. Full on believes in demons. And I don't mean like metaphorical demons. I mean, she thinks people do things because they are possessed, which makes it very difficult to have a political conversation with her. It's just Michigan is an exaggeration of America right now. The Republicans they're full on insurrectionist crazy. The Democrats are like, well, we wanted to be a little bit corrupt, but it turns out there's not going to be a state anymore. So we're forced to do what we said we'd do and actually govern. Gretchen Whitmer, you wouldn't know it. She's a centrist. She's very much like an old-fashioned, or was an old-fashioned Democrat. Then they tried to kidnap her, and was like, all right, punks, get ready for an angry business lady. That's who you've got as a governor now. And it's been just delightful. But it's resulted in nard kicking, yeah.
And not only like kidnapping her and doing whatever once they got her, but blowing up a bridge too to make sure that no one could come and save her.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not forget the plan to blow up the bridge.
God, the plan to blow up the bridge, they were training in this guy's, like, folks, if you're not familiar, this is the Wolverine Watchmen we're talking about. They're part of a militia. Now, if you're wondering, what's a militia? Well, those are terrorist groups that we have that are just allowed. As long as they don't actually do the thing they train to do all day, every day on the weekends, let's say, then they're just allowed to hang out and practice being terrorists. So
domestic.
Yeah. Well, for now, let's hope we get this under control.
I am DT, ideologically motivated domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
So just for the kids, I want to read this from the Salon, because I mean it's just too. I know it's not like the deepest thing, but like a Saturday meeting of Michigan's GOP state committee reportedly resulted in one person being sent to the emergency room after a brawl broke out at the host hotel. This is, by the way, the same host hotel at which a brawl broke out the last time they got together. Hello, host hotel. Maybe don't rent to them. Just say. All right. As reported by the Detroit News, Wayne County Republican James Chapman was trying to get into the state party's meeting room at the Doherty Hotel. That's the one you don't go to, kids. By jiggling the door handle when Clare County Republican Party Chair Mark DeYoung opened the door from inside. Quote, "He kicked me in my balls as soon as I opened the door," DeYoung told the outlet while being interviewed in the ER, adding that he had suffered a broken rib and intended to press charges against Chapman. I swear you couldn't write this. Chapman, however, said DeYoung was the one who swung first after threatening to kick Chapman's ass. DeYoung denied that, though, claiming Chapman squared up first, rushing DeYoung and slamming him into a chair. One of the individuals involved in the fight gave Detroit News' Kegs Mauger a warning for any would-be future Michigan brawlers. When you see me taking off my glasses... when you see me taking my glasses off, I'm ready to rock, Chapman said.
Oh, Christ.
You know what that said the high school that nobody graduated from? I think they gave them way too much credit. I think we're talking elementary here.
You have to understand. Michigan was gerrymandered right up until 2018. Because of this, it wasn't very hard to be a Republican politician. Because it wasn't very hard, you had a bunch of dummies get to be successful politicians. Now, the end result of that, and this is why I tell people who say don't argue on the left, no, argue on the left, because it prevents us from being that. Because the result of that gerrymandering is they're a bunch of idiots. They're idiots. None of them have the ability to conduct themselves professionally, pretend like they're anything other than idiots. So now that they're under stress because we're no longer gerrymandered, because all of Michigan was sick of it, frankly. Well, and because let's be honest, we put weed on the ballot. It'll get people out to vote. Now that they're under stress, they're handling it poorly. And that is what I expect the entire Republican Party to look like, fingers crossed, in 2025.
That's exactly why I'm mentioning this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's a glimpse at America's future.
What other scenario for this party is there than this? Seriously.
There's none.
No.
It's easy for people to forget this, but yeah, Trump's he gets more popular with his base every time he gets charged. Okay. Not a single independent voter is going to be like, well, he's been charged 3 times. I'm voting for him. That's it. He was the incumbent and he lost. On top of that, that was to the guy who's the incumbent now. On top of that, this was before he tried a coup. I somehow doubt that that he's won over that crucial independent vote.
You know, on January 7th, I thought there's no way I'm ever voting for this guy, but everything that I've seen since then, well, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Said
I know.
No one ever.
Yeah. Think about the guy he's pretending exists. The gal who was out there like on November 4th of 2020, I didn't want to vote for him, but then he did a coup, and I'm like, oh, he does care. I don't think so.
I feel he's really fighting for America.
Yeah. Not, democracy in America, but still. Christ.
I'm so sorry. Oh, man.
When you guys are watching this, and Grizz or Mr. Beaver, I'm curious to hear. When you guys are watching this over there, are you, like, nervous every day that this is just going to turn into, like, a shooting fight?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about that, genuinely.
Like, you're right to be, I think.
See, here's the thing, right? It's a lot of the rhetoric is like, well, we can't do anything to provoke them. Right? So we can't apply the law like we should apply. Like Donald Trump is not anybody would have been told like to turn around and put your hands up against the wall right about now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He's getting this treatment, and a lot of it is because one former president, we can't, but it's all this public management thing. And my thing is, these people are going to do this whether he's acquitted, found guilty, given the chair, allowed to go to Club Fed for the next, whatever the result is, they're going to do it anyway. So just do the damn right thing and do it the right way. Just do it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You're not preventing any of it. And maybe if you do it hard and fast,
you can
maybe
trace
it makes people go, oh, okay.
That is exactly correct. And the maddening thing was we had an opportunity on January 7th to correct decades of corruption by saying, okay, this is it. We're going to finally take this seriously. And if you were keyed into American politics at that specific time, there was a window where all the psychos who had been saying the stuff that makes the whole rest of the world nervous, they were real quiet, and it was just assumed throughout the country that there would be repercussions, and then there were none. And Kevin McCarthy shot that starting gun, saying it's back on, by going down to Mar-a-Lago in America's taint and redeeming the guy. And suddenly it was all back. Suddenly they're like, oh, there aren't going to be consequences. Republicans really do get to get away with everything. And the conspiracy nuts then took that and used that as like proof that Trump was secretly right and he's secretly still the president and all that. So if folks over in Canada, if your Pierre Poliver fella does the equivalent, and you get the opportunity to get him, understand how important it is that you act. You got him, because these folks take their signals from the Justice Department.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, because we had the occupation, we didn't have like a January 6th following an election, but there was a, attempt to overtake our city, and people are being tried right now. And
Good.
we had a public order emergency commission looking at it as well. And that, so that creates a precedent. But it's like, I'm just like, but when you're talking about it, you've got Trump, and right about the same time on the same timeline, back in Brazil,
Yes.
Bolsonaro lost his election. And
Yep.
there was a little bit of an insurrection there. And Bolsonaro had left the country a little bit for a couple of days to say, well, I wasn't in the country when it happened, so it couldn't be anything done with me. Back in June 30th, actually, the Brazil court votes to bar Bolsonaro from office until 2030. So he was already charged, arrested, tried, sentenced, and barred from running again for this in the time before Orange Shit Stain was even indicted in the States.
It makes me so angry to hear I hear other like American broadcasters of all stripes being like, well, you got to be patient because you see, the thing is, Merrick Garland has to build a case. What you just pointed out is exactly correct. Look at an example of almost the exact same thing. By the way, with many of the same characters, including Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller, advisors to Trump, involved with Bolsonaro's coup. Exact same thing, handled in an instant by comparison.
Well, it turns out we found out that nothing happened at DOJ for a full year. Because people at the Washington FBI office were and other places were denying subpoenas, saying you don't have a good enough. Everything was like being blocked almost, and that the people that were coming up to talk to Merrick Garland weren't actually telling him that there were officers that had like completely different views of it.
Well,
so
Merrick
nothing
Garland
happened for a year.
Merrick Garland himself forbade people from talking about Trump within the office. Just forbade it altogether. And I'm sure he's going to turn around and say, like, well, I was trying to build a case and that takes time. No.
It wasn't until Cassidy Hutchinson testified.
Exactly. And he was caught off guard.
And that changed everything.
Exactly. And he clearly, he had no idea some of the stuff they uncovered.
But it was all that, like, for example, we need a warrant to go and look at this. It's like, no, you haven't met the threshold. And it's like, the threshold has been really, really, really met. But like, for some reason, the thresholds got higher.
Yes, that's exactly it. They're couple of things. Thing number one, and I recommend we do this in both of our countries, knock off the folks that are on the left who are saying ACAB all the time. It's not that I don't agree with the frustrations they have, but what a great way to ensure that you will never have right-wingers punished is to have no left-wingers in the police.
For those who don't know of our viewers, what's ACAB and listeners?
All cops
are bastards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hear that at all kinds of protests, and I gotta, like, that's like saying, give all the guns to the people that dislike us and hope for the best. I don't like that plan. Don't like that plan very much.
It's not a good one. We'll just send this guy after them. This guy right here, he'll take care of them.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoops, I got to put the sound on here. So.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
That's him, by the way.
That was me. Did you know that was in Newsweek?
Oh, hell yeah.
Somebody sent me a clip. It was in Newsweek. I'm like, what? Why didn't they try and reach out to me? They just featured a story and they didn't even talk to me.
You are a personal hero of mine for that. We need, honestly, the left needs more of that attitude. We got to rediscover our teeth. Oh.
Well, there's a part of me that, look, do I regret doing that? No. The only regret I have is the amount of F-bombs I dropped in that time period.
Fair.
Because it kind of takes away some of the credence to what I was saying. And my mom wasn't real happy with the F-bombs, but she understood. She understood completely. Yeah. It's like, no, people are torturing your friends and neighbors in your neighborhood. The police are standing by and letting it happen. Nobody was lifting a finger to do anything. That was day 5. It went on for 2 more weeks.
I mean, genuinely, I hope you guys are encouraging Canadians to take action to make sure that doesn't happen again. At the very least, make your officials go up in front of a microphone and explain what they're doing to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because the real danger comes from the fact that right-wingers get treated with kid gloves to the point where they get to exist under different laws than everybody else. And that turns into fascism lickety-split, apparently. God in hell.
Yeah. All right.
We can always release this on them too. Hang on, I got this. This I think you'll like this. This is also the new thing I'm looking at here. Right on it. Grizzly bear on fire.
I love it.
That's a mad bear.
I love it.
So moving from Michigan, just let's say like how terrible things are going within the party, and that's what's coming up to the other levels as things start imploding. At the top, someone ran to the press and said, "I got yet another target letter." And then yammered on. I watched the show, yammered on for at least, how long did he go on in total? Because I think he was at 90 minutes already when you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was still going when you stopped.
I was replaying part of that, but in short.
Yes.
He was just going on and on and on. And I got to tell you, I make fun of this guy for a living. And even I was finding it boring because it was the same thing. The same stuff over and over. It's all them. I never do anything wrong. Crowd like train seals. And I think finally he's listening to his lawyers who are like, look, you're going to go to prison for the words you say. So he didn't touch on it as much. But I mean, this is the one. We're almost numb to it because we've heard of so many indictments, but this is the one that really, truly, genuinely matters the most. This is the one that decides, is America a place where right-wingers are allowed to just try a coup every time they lose an election? Carrie Lake is she's a failed gubernatorial candidate. Yet another example.
She's trying to be the next Melania. I think she's trying to push her out of the way. Seriously, she's she loves him just a little too much.
Oh,
it's creepy. It's creepy.
It is.
It's creepy.
But it's just, this needed to happen. I'm delighted it's finally happening. I'm infuriated that it took this long, and we're going to have words with our leaders as soon as this is wrapped up. But thank God the main event is here. The coup is going to be dealt with. Now, that said, he said he was supposed to report yada yada by yesterday. Didn't, as far as I know. Donald Trump's word is worth nothing, so I'm not concerned with Jack Smith at all. But I would just advise you all that sometime within the next 2 weeks, you're going to see this guy arrested for trying a coup. And I'll be streaming that one.
Oh yeah. Shall we take a small musical interlude here for a second?
Let's do.
Hell yeah.
Let's. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you this will be the file that we're gonna hear. Where is it? I can't find it. Hang on a second. Gotta find. Oh, there it is. Sorry, apologies. This will be the file. And so you're going to see the streaming file will be miniaturized in the background. But this is our good friend Spencer Rice. Spencer Rice plays the blues. Sit back, relax, and listen to this for a minute or two. I think you're going to very much enjoy this. It's really good.
You know, Katie, man, she's a good girl. she don't run around at night. You know, Katie May, she's a good girl, and she don't run around at night. Yeah, you bet your bottom dollar right. Katie May will treat you right. Yeah, some folks say that she's a Cadillac. I said she wanted an antique Model 4. Some folks say that she's a Cadillac. I said she's wanted an antique Model 4. Yeah, she got her head screwed on right. She don't care no heavy load. Yeah, I give that woman everything in the world she needs. Yeah, a woman don't do nothing but lay up in her bed and read. You know she was just like she got old bells in her backyard. You never hear her hooping, hollering, or crying, worrying about the times being hard. Goodbye, Katie May. Honey, that's all I got to say. Yeah, goodbye, Katie May now. Honey, that's all I got to say. If I don't see you sometime tomorrow night, I'll see you sometime, baby, next day. She's a good girl. She don't run around at night. Yeah, you know Katie May, she's a good girl. She don't run around at night. Yeah, but you bet your bottom dollar right. Katie May will treat you right.
Come on.
Whoa.
Didn't know he could do that, did you?
No, I did not.
Told you.
It's all that.
He is a
stuff,
blues man.
It's all that stuff in the center.
Oh yeah.
Now,
like
between the dump, but it's all the bing,
yeah.
all the different rhythm and everything. It's like, wow.
Spencer Rice is a blues man.
He's a
Full
damn
stop
good
in the story.
one.
He's a blues man. Oh yeah.
I feel like
we did a couple of tracks.
Sitting on a back porch in Louisiana, slapping at mosquitoes as big as basketballs. That's just fantastic.
When you think Southern blues man, think Jewish man from Toronto?
Absolutely.
Now I do. Now I do.
Well, I'm sort of borrowing from what was it? Bringing Down the House. When Steve Martin did the film, it was with Eugene Levy and Queen Latifah. And Eugene Levy's character fell in love with Queen Latifah, and he got really heavy into rap in the film. And Steve Martin says, when you think of rap music, think of Canadian Jew from Toronto, Eugene Levy. So I was sort of borrowing that one, but
it's sort of like how
with all apologies.
It's like how you.
But no joke. I mean, that's a serious blues player.
Yeah,
like, that is a serious blues player.
Oh man,
Spencer he's a musician. Like, my God, playing the harp, blowing the harp, playing the blues guitar, and singing. Like, forget it. I couldn't ever. I've been playing guitar for almost 40 years. I can't ever play like that ever. I just don't have it in me to do it.
Well, I mean, that track was fantastic. What was it called?
Honestly, I think it's Katie, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check with him. I didn't put titles to it. I just, we did two songs.
So
I got another one for later on in the show. Yeah.
Ooh, Katie will teach you out. Whoa.
Yeah, these are tracks that are very much in the public realm, so we have no risk of copyright violation.
I didn't think about that. Good.
Yeah. Because they're quite old. Did Mr. Beaver freeze?
He did.
We lost Mr. Beaver.
Just the perfect moment.
Yeah. The look of shock.
I just want to do a slow zoom in.
Okay, we'll just pull him out for now. He'll probably have to jump in and out. His computer may have borked on him.
Fair enough.
We've been both having weird computer issues. Mine keeps updating constantly at the weirdest times. I'm like, I go to log on the other day and I'm like, why is it updating? It's not supposed to do that now. It's supposed to do that at 2:00 in the morning when I've set it. Don't ever update until update when I'm not using it. Right.
It's the curse of the Beaver, man. I had that. I had it happen last night. My whole stream just shut down. And then as I was composing a message to my audience in the community tabs, my number one mod and also my only mod informed me that the stream was still live. I just wasn't on it.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh God, I'll leave that up for posterity. But oof. Man, I'll tell you. So what? Give me the lowdown. A political summer in Canada. What's the temperature like over there? Not literal, but like, are
right now it's you have these agitators that they're just designed to stir up shit. Like in Belleville the other day, where the Prime Minister was, 100 protesters showed up. Apparently, a bunch of them were bussed in from the U.S. because they had Trump flags and MAGA flags and Make Canada Great Again flags. And the bus had the big U.S. flag on the side. I mean, like, it's what are they coming here to protest? Why are you protesting Prime Minister Trudeau? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's a different country. Why and what for? And how is that going to affect anything on either side of the border? It just makes no sense to me. It's like me showing up in D.C. to protest Trump. What?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I don't have a vote. Literally, I have no skin in that game. So why would I do that?
Truth be told, if we're just talking about the principle of the thing, I would kind of get it. Like, all right, America's kind of choking the world with fumes right now. I would understand. But after that Bolsonaro revelation, I truly do wonder how astroturf that is. Like, I wonder if there are organizers in the U.S. that are sending people over to Canada to cause problems.
It's one of those things where, would I be surprised by that? No, I wouldn't.
Well, what's his name was here? Remember those pictures in January 6th?
Was it Roger Stone?
From our not January 6th, from our the occupation attempt there. That guy from the States that was always in the pictures with Tom and
what was his name? He was part of the Trump administration at one point, I think.
Yeah,
Manafort.
I'll try to find his picture.
That
No,
would
we got a
surprise
picture
me.
of him. Yeah, he was in the background in a lot of photos, and we're like, "What the hell is he doing here?"
Let me rattle off the people on my suspect list here. We got Roger Stone for sure, Steve Bannon, and Steve Miller. Those three are the ones I'm most concerned about. Runners up, Rudy Giuliani, and I don't think John Eastman is part of this gang that goes to other countries, but in the U.S., John Eastman was an organizer of the coup.
Mhm.
So anybody on that list is who I would name as likely suspects there. Who we
I
got?
can't remember what his name was.
Hold on. Of the guy,
Wasn't Manafort.
maybe he would.
You have the picture?
Yeah, hold on.
Maybe you could identify him.
Hopefully it's like Paul
No, there should,
Giamatti, just something out of
there
left
should probably
field.
be an
Like,
article
what?
somewhere with, but
Paul Giamatti, the actor.
Son of a
let me
bee.
see if I can load it
Giamatti.
up. He's everywhere, man. He's in everything.
Okay.
He is.
Let's blow it up. And,
Hold on, let's see. I can blow it up more. No,
a bit
that's
more.
not. That's
Oh,
not
it's going to
sure that's
shrink.
blowing up
Yeah,
here.
okay. So just,
This guy right here.
what was his name again?
He
I'll
looks
keep
like a
looking for
good.
What is it? Scroll up. It says, scroll up. What does that say? In Ottawa, spokesperson
Former
for
Georgian
Freedom
college
Convoy?
instructor. That so it's not.
Oh,
him.
that's
Hmm.
yeah. That's Marazzo right there in the middle.
Yeah.
In the front row. But it's this guy in the background here whose name is escaping me. But yeah, he was there. I'm like, what? What the hell is he doing there?
According to the website. Let me just see if it's in the article at all. No, okay, hold on. U.S. Well, keep talking. I'll find it.
Okay, Paul
Paul
Alexander.
Whalen,
Paul Alexander.
maybe. Oh, Paul Alexander.
Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul Alexander. Thanks,
Oh,
Reed.
Paul Whalen's
Appreciate
the
that.
criminal. Never mind.
Let's see, Paul Alexander, and he was American lawyer from. No, that's not the right one. That's a different Paul Alexander.
No, not that guy. No. Yeah, you got a different guy there.
Yeah, that's a different, definitely.
That's the man in the Iron Lung. He's a lawyer from he's one of the last people to be in the Iron Lung, and he's lived his whole life in it.
There we go. Paul Alexander previously served as a temporary senior policy advisor to the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs.
Oh. All right, I'm putting him on my list of folks to watch.
Oh, there we go. There's an article here. How a former Trump official wound up at Ottawa's convoy protests. There we go.
Yeah, it's from the CBC. I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah, there we go.
Paul
Get a better
Alexander,
picture
who
of him.
clashed with colleagues in Washington, finds allies at vaccine mandate protest.
Yes, that's
Here's
okay. I know who this
Here's
guy is.
Hang on, I got a picture of him.
He's
right
the
here. I'll
herd
blow it up
immunity
a bit.
guy.
Yes, this guy right here in the middle, in the dark blue jacket. He's not the blue jacket guy. He's this guy right here. That guy, Paul Alexander.
I'm sorry we are exporting this stuff. I honestly, it might be helpful if you guys put a lot of these cats on like a terrorist watch list, so we can say this guy's on a terrorist watch list, and that wouldn't be political theater. They're terrorists.
No,
good
it is.
Lord.
It's ideologically motivated domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Former Trump
Paul Alexander
administration official.
Yeah, but he's a Canadian citizen, but a former part-time faculty member at McMaster University in Hamilton, who now lives in the U.S. or at the time, and had a contentious stint as science advisor to the former president earlier in the pandemic.
Oh, thank God. I can be angry at you guys. You exported him. Good.
Yes.
I don't get a lot of those these days.
Sorry about Ted Cruz, too, but we don't want him back. We don't want him back.
Sorry.
Oh, my
Sorry,
God.
America.
And this is the
Cruz,
weird part.
really?
Like, he was with the organizers of the Ottawa convoy. He graduated from McGill University. You know, that bastion of right-wing conservative ideological motivation that is McGill University.
No, McMaster. It's McMaster.
McMaster? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, no, sorry. He may have graduated from McGill. He was a faculty member.
Faculty member at McMaster, yeah.
So, yeah.
Even still, neither one of those schools are known as right-wing. Right. McMaster or McGill. Neither one of them are.
Because it's real hard to be a right winger in education because you're supposed to say things that are true. Very hard.
Yeah.
very hard there and in a courtroom to be a right winger.
Yeah, because truth, truth is. I wouldn't say truth is left wing, but it's definitely not right wing. It's centrist because it's truth.
I mean, it's got a definite left lean to it.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does.
It's just because the right now is like, global warming isn't real. Shoulder catches on fire. That's unrelated.
Unrelated.
We just broke the temperature of the Earth since we've been measuring that. Coincidence.
These things happen, all the time. Yeah. Since we've been measuring it.
Tabby G, like slavery was beneficial to the slaves. Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, I hear you, my friend.
What's
I hear you, my
crazy to me, what makes me so nuts in both of our countries, this is true, at least is from where's I'm sitting. They had already won. Like they already had the lefties pretending like it was really good to give giant tax breaks to big businesses.
Yeah.
They'd won. They'd
won.
done the grift.
Yeah.
It's like a guy that's going to the gym after he's already ripped. I'm just like, why? Go out and enjoy it. Pop your shirt off at a beach. Enjoy the fruits of this. But no, they had to keep pushing it farther, and now they broke their back. Now we see them, and it's bizarre to me. They ruined the grift by getting I don't even know what. I don't know why or how. I take it back. I do know how this happened. The grift was contingent upon telling people that the spooky brown people are coming for you.
Ooh.
And then unfortunately people believed it, and now here we are.
Yeah. It's sad but true.
All right.
Here's some background on Paul Alexander. Bachelor's degree in epidemiology from McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. Master's degree from Oxford University. In 2015, earned a PhD from McMaster's Department of Health Research Methods Evidence. So, well-educated man, idiot.
Yeah. That just tells me when he was doing all that COVID nonsense, he knew exactly not only that he was wrong, but he could identify why he was wrong.
Yes.
Yep.
And
yet,
give
for
a
some
shit.
reason, he still thought it was beneficial to lie to people and get estimates are around 500,000 Americans killed unnecessarily.
I think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm really reaching on this, but maybe that was his way of getting rid of the poors.
I mean, like that's evil enough that I might think, yeah. He's also smart enough that I would worry that he would realize that it was the poors that vote for him that he'd be getting rid of.
Not
but
at
then
first.
again,
Not at first. Not at first.
True.
Remember, COVID arrived first in New York and on the West Coast.
Yes.
Fair.
All those Dems are.
Yeah.
Fair.
Never thought it would get to the Midwest.
And
I guess
truly,
he thought
that's
COVID would fly over.
yeah. That's one of the many reasons also why it's not good to elect grifters, dirty poors. Yeah, it's probably what he was thinking. But also, he didn't actually. He somebody in this wouldn't actually care about the philosophy or the even policy. They just would care about pleasing their boss, and he probably got a nonsensical order to say, "Yeah, we're pro-COVID now.
Mm-hmm.
We're real on the side of the disease. So find a way to do that."
When
I like Mohan's
voters,
comment I got on the screen here. Education only means you can regurgitate what you read or taught. It doesn't necessarily mean you are a critical thinker. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah.
Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life, and I'm not kidding when I say this, are lawyers and physicians. They know what they do, and anything outside of that, clueless. Completely clueless. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying they're not as smart as people would think they are. Because, you're a lawyer. You think they're automatically smart. Well, we've seen people who were defending the convoy people during the POEC, and their defense lawyers were not that smart.
Yeah.
Clearly not that smart.
Yikes.
Perspective on lawyers here. Do bear in mind that these folks, and I've really had this laid out for me in recent years. These folks they're limited in how effective they can be
Mhm.
by their clients to
Yes.
some degree. Like if your client shows up to court for bank robbing and they've got a sack with a $ on it and they're wearing a black and white striped shirt, there's only so much you can do to talk your way out of that one.
Rubble.
So yeah. So when, for example, Trump goes to his lawyers and it's like, all right, so here's the thing. I'm going to say that I did the crime. I'm going to say that. And you have to say it wasn't illegal. All they could be like is try to not to have a straight face when they go to on CNN or whatever. Like, so I know the crime is obstructing justice, but the thing is, when he prevented law enforcement from doing their job, what he was really doing was blocking truth, not obstructing justice, though.
Blocking
a
truth.
different phrase.
Well, no, I mean, in his perspective, it would be, well, since it's a witch hunt, there was no reason for it to be. So he was stopping an attempt at personal persecution and standing up for his rights.
Oh, well.
And remember,
then his lawyer.
Remember, witch is an acronym for a woman in total control of herself, which means Trump's just admitted to the fact that he's trans. There, it's a rumor. I started it.
There you go.
We should just start a bunch of like trashy Trump rumors. Like,
well, he eats babies. He eats babies.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. I heard that he's an avid devourer of infants, for sure. Likes them with barbecue sauce.
That's what I've been told. Oh, ketchup usually. But they have to be well done, remember? Because that's how he eats his steaks. Well done with ketchup.
And it
Can't
started
trust
with
a person like that.
Yeah. It started with a mix-up because he was trying to order baby back ribs. But
he just got baby back.
Yeah, but he loved it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So tender. So tender.
I like this
baby,
strategy.
the other white meat.
Oh my God. Terrible. We are awful people, but we're right.
I want my baby back ribs.
Baby, want my baby back. I want my baby back.
Baby.
Barbecue sauce.
Oh man.
Look,
My thing is that he keeps that thing he wears on his head svelte by feeding it nuts and grains only.
Yes. I hope that when Trump is buried, his toupee or whatever he has on top of his head is buried in it. It's like, I hope it's buried in a tiny
No,
little
you put that shit in the Smithsonian so we can laugh at that forever. Someone actually thought this was a good look.
Yeah, he was sitting down. It was sometime in the late 90s, and he was like, now listen, I realize I'm going bald, but I got an idea. Let's make it look like you got, like I got nutsack hairs, but really combed hard.
Combed over.
Yeah. Make it look like the bottom of the belly, those hairs, but all just sort of sat on top.
Over, yeah.
Not attached, just precariously balanced.
So anybody who looks in the mirror and thinks, yeah, that looks good, I don't trust that person. Because come on. It doesn't even look real.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I keep on saying, like, the kids with the greaser hair, and up here in Canada, Melissa Lantzman with the Dairy Queen Fun Dip thing. She's got going. Just Boris Johnson. I mean, come on, man. The hair. Kim Jong-un.
And it's
come on.
It's weird.
There's a theme here. Margaret Thatcher.
I have no joke. I have a political theory. It's sort of like how you have like math tricks that aren't actually math, but they work, so they help you. It's like that, but for politics. If they have terrible hair, but they haven't tried very hard, they're far left and they're fine. That's your Bernie Sanders. That's your occasional Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, although whatever.
For the most part,
most part she's put together, but occasionally she's got the Coke bottle glasses and the frizzy hair. If they've got terrible hair and they put a ton of work into it, opposite, far right.
Evil. That's a pretty good theory when you think about it, because it's true.
If it's effortlessly
works.
bad, it's light and easy.
Yes.
Democrat. If you look like you put some scaffolding, you got some supports in that thing.
Little spackle.
Okay. I need to ask because, okay. So he allegedly, because I mean, can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth, but he allegedly has another target letter, which of course makes me very happy because, as we said on yesterday's show, this is not only Schadenfreude, it's return on investment. So, ROI, baby, cha-ching. Karmic credit card is due. Pay up, bitch. All right. So, of course, everybody's saying, oh my God, warn like an insurrection, another thing can happen, right? And yeah. So just charge them anyway. We'll deal with that if that happens.
Yeah.
Now, it seems
Good if it
that
happens. Let's find out where these folks are.
Yeah. Now, it seems that the
exactly.
16 charges in Michigan happened on the same day he got his target letter. So it was like 2 scoops.
Oh, it was the best.
See what I did
That
there?
was the best.
I bet you he had the most delicious piece of chocolate cake you've ever seen with 2 scoops.
Oh, I was floating.
16 witnesses against him. And all that testimony, I'm sure, will happen in Michigan, will be taken by Jack Smith and then brought in to the other trial, of course, right? Because it was all said under oath. So
I strongly suspect, and this is a rare time when I'm going to be okay with this, that not a one of those traitors are going to finish out their sentence. I think they are all going to turn on this guy.
They won't.
Good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, some in Georgia have.
Yep.
Or turned on each other. So,
folks, former Trump chief of staff Mark Meadows has been weirdly silent.
Yes.
And his name has not been on a one document. That's pretty odd.
With statements such as Mr. Meadows will say anything that he is legally required to, which is driving the Trump camp mad because they don't know if he's flipped or if he hasn't flipped. And they're sending people to probe to see if he's flipped or not.
Yes, they are.
Nothing. Radio silence. He seems to be the only one out of the whole damn gang that went to his lawyer and listened to his lawyer. You let me do it and you keep your damn mouth shut.
Yeah. And folks, if you want to know what to look for next, to know exactly how screwed Trump is and what flavor this is going to take on, look for the indicting document when Trump is arrested and taken to court and arraigned. Look and see if what they say about Mark Meadows on there, because if they mention Mark Meadows and Mark Meadows doesn't respond like that, first of all, let me say this again, or try this again. They have to mention Mark Meadows because Mark Meadows facilitated this.
The chief of staff.
Yes. And he was the one talking to Cassidy Hutchinson and all this other stuff. So if they mention Mark Meadows, which they must, and Mark Meadows doesn't respond at all, that's it. That means Meadows he knew this is planned. He's talking. He's sold out Trump for his own safety. And everything we know about this guy's character, which is to say he is a two-timing coward, tells us that is exactly the move he would take.
So I have a question, a quick one. Where is Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump in all of this?
Jared Kushner testified, did he, very recently?
Oh, he did?
Yes, and it seems that he came in of his own volition.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Fun little factoid. I missed that. Ivanka and Jared are apparently big fans of my show because they took advice from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been telling folks in Trump's circle, don't do the House attorney. That's only going to look out for the boss. Well, obviously, because they watch, I am assuming, they did not use the attorney that Trump was offering and instead got their own attorney. And wouldn't you know it, they're fine now. No legal consequences for any of this.
Yeah, because that's why I said they've been oddly silent, which is, like what? How's that even
They
possible?
went in and testified when they were called to, and they too kept their mouths shut.
Yes.
And what about the reincarnation of Goebbels, Stephen Miller? Where's he in all of this?
Well, he's probably using a Trump attorney, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore he's probably going to go to prison.
And he's probably not, if they're like getting into the closer circle, he probably hasn't yet been called or is about to be called very soon in, because he's up there. He's on the inner circle.
He is. Truth be told, I think it. I don't want to make an ass of myself. Truth be told, I think he probably had less to do with the actual organization than it appears he does, because he was.
That's true. With the 6th, yeah.
Yeah, he
was too busy hating on people with melanin.
He actually has ideology that he believes in, which is a weird thing to say, but like, and it's evil. It's like the most evil thing you can imagine. It's full on white supremacist. And that's not me saying that. Stephen Miller said that. It's white supremacist ideology. But my only point is like, because he genuinely believed this stuff, you know, he was all about being the I'll go on Fox stuff and genuinely working to make evil things happen, which means he was less involved in the political effery. At least that's my assumption, but we'll see.
Hey, no,
real interesting.
It is completely possible that he is a horrible human being in an entirely different way in his own right. That has nothing to do with January 6th.
And it matches up with the hair theory. Remember that spray on hair he had?
Oh boy. Wow, that was brutal.
And then Rudy,
dude, just shave it. Just shave it. Shave it or get a toupee, shave it or transplant it, because either way, it's not working.
Yeah,
it ain't working.
Yeah. So
just for the record.
Yeah. One of the kids asked, any thoughts about John Lauro?
John Lauro, no thoughts. That's disappointing for a guest.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even know who he is.
No, me either. That name doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah,
it doesn't ring a bell at all.
That's a new one to me. Wait, where's that? Let me see if I'm getting the spelling wrong.
Lauro. I don't know who he is. Please, Taffy, let us know, because I'm not familiar with that person is.
So we have
Trump's new attorney.
Oh, the new attorney.
Oh, yes. No, other than my and this I'm giving you a secondhand assessment here. This guy seems to be a bit more of a professional.
Yes.
Just based on the circles he runs in, which is good news for Trump. And frankly, at this point, I'll take it. Like I don't have any concerns. He could have Johnny Cochran. I'm not worried that he's gonna like somehow.
Yeah. I want him to have the best lawyer he could possibly get, so he can't turn around and say I was misrepresented when it finally came, when the tips came down. Because this, as both of column keeps saying, this is a just press play prosecution for the documents, at least. So just bring the best, because you can't win. We got you on tape.
And I just want like a coherent pre-trial era, like where we're not saying, okay, I know Alina Habba just rattled off 3 paragraphs about this, that, and the other thing, but none of those had anything to do with the case, and none of us are sure why she said it. Like, and who's that other guy that looked like an extra from The Godfather? I'm blanking, but
Joey Tacos or something.
Yes, yeah, Tacopina. There it is. Yeah. Like he's had so many jackass lawyers, and I'm including Giuliani, that I'm about ready for a boring professional to just do the damn job.
My God, even just like hire Marsha Gay Harden to play the role. I mean, doctors are on strike. Just like she'll probably do a better job. So with this one, going back to, since we're talking about the documents case, the thing that I wanted to ask you when we're going to have you on the last time was that it's because the indictment had recently come down, and it was like 4 days later, after the judge like puts all these restrictions on what documents he can share and how he can see it, and there are certain documents he can see only with the presence of his lawyers, and he can't take anything with them. They got to like take him like this. We're showing you this, and then we're taking it away from you, and like this, you can't talk about this, and all this kind of stuff. 4 days later, the Bedminster tape comes out.
Yeah,
4 freaking days after that side is told, and don't you dare freaking leak or think of that leaks. And I don't know. Something tells me, I mean, I guess it could have been the Jack Smith side that led it. It's just like, just give you a little taste of what we got on you. So just to make you sweat a little more. I can see that,
Yeah.
the psychological warfare. But come on. It just looks like so much. You told me not to do this. I'm not going to press this button. Okay, let's release the tape. Go. Big money, no
Two
whammies.
options. Either the Jack Smith side chose, and this I'm going to make it sound like it's not likely, but it could have happened. Either the Jack Smith side chose to start leaking documents once Trump coincidentally had them. Maybe. I mean, that's a piece of strategy. Maybe they decided to do that for the reason you say, putting pressure on potential flipping witnesses. Or the watery sieve that is the Trump organization once again leaked documents as soon as they got their hands on it. Truly, it could be either. And I would just say this. I think it's Trump, because about the dumbest thing that he could have done, in my opinion, is release any further documents. And just going off the thing that has been most accurate for predicting Trump news, assuming he's done the dumbest thing that can be done is usually the way to go.
Okay. So I was sitting there like, really? 4 days?
It's
4
insane.
damn days.
I can't wait. I cannot wait for the tell-all books about this. I'll just admit it. If you join the Trump administration, I'm talking to you, Giuliani. If you joined the Trump administration with the sole excuse or sole purpose of wanting to write a book about hot goss, you sold. You've won. I'll buy it. I cannot wait to find out what a disaster this was behind the scenes. My God.
Okay.
Also, I wonder what a Trump.
that'll happen.
Oh yeah.
Pardon?
I'm dying to know what a Trump panic attack looks like and how many he's had so far.
Oh man. Well, if we're talking about the target letter he recently received, it seems that there were more about some of the offenses that were sort of mentioned in them. So one is conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud the United States. The other one is deprivation of rights. And now a lot of people are saying under color of law. I've heard someone say that under the U.S. Code, one is Title 18 U.S. Code 241, and the other one is 242. And they're essentially the same law, 241, 242, but 242 has under the color of law and 241 doesn't. And it seems that it's more 241 and not 242. So there's a whole lot. You could hear a lot of discussions about under the color of law. Apparently that's not relevant. So that's what they're saying. So it seems that it's 241 and not 242. So the under color of law does not apply in this case.
Really?
What I heard just this morning, just before coming on. This is the latest thing, because the color of law thing is, creates a whole debate, right? Well, this wasn't under color of law. This was like that. Apparently, they chose the one that doesn't have that. There's two options.
Yeah.
They chose the one that doesn't have that because they don't have to prove it. And then the third one is tampering with a witness, victim, or informant. And that is the really dangerous one for Trump. Because if you are accused of tampering with a witness or an informant, that means the witness or informant that you really wanted really didn't want to say anything, sang like a canary.
And folks,
you're not sure, and given your Trump and given your orbit's big, you're not sure exactly which one.
Here, the way that works, if I understand correctly, is this. Why were you tampering with them? Because they were going to say something that you didn't want them to say. Why are you being charged with it? Because they did anyway. Ooh, that's a double whammy. Ooh. On top of that, Trump is the least subtle human being on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, proving that is going to be like, did you do it? No, I did, though, but I could have. And I did do it. And I'm going to do it again.
It was okay because
Yeah.
In my mind, I said it was okay.
I
In my
declassified
mind.
it before I ate the tacos, so it's
Before I ate the taco. Yeah, that's good. That would be like a Trump argument for sure. I
Right.
can't imagine him eating Mexican food, but other than that, yeah.
well, he poses with the
I-
taco bowl. I don't
Fair.
know. There was no
I take it
evidence he
back.
actually ate it, though.
He would eat Taco
Yeah.
Bell. Yeah, all right. All right. Yeah.
So I have something here. I have a graphic that just came across my feed, and this is from a couple of days ago. I don't know why this didn't get any more news. When I put this on the screen, we'll look at it for a sec, then I'll read it for the listeners, because some people like to listen instead of watch, and that's cool. But this graphic is troubling and telling at the same time. So let's have a look at this graphic. Amendment to 2023 Defense Programs Bill on reporting white supremacists in the U.S. military. Schneider of Illinois, Part A, Amendment number 31 on agreeing to the amendment. Democrats, 218 yeas. Republicans, 208 nays. You're really telling on yourselves, Republicans.
Yeah.
Really telling on yourselves.
Yeah, that was kind of a layup.
Yeah.
And
Like-
this other guy, I can't even remember this dingbad's name, but was it Steve? It doesn't matter. Well, there is a politician in the U.S. that's catching hell for going up on TV and say, yeah, they do. PNC Bio says they like Nazis. They do. Literally, they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's been a guy that's been catching hell for going up on TV and saying like, well, we shouldn't call folks white supremacists, and like trying to run cover for this. And he's
Tuberville.
catching hell left and right. Tuberville, yes, Tommy
Tommy
Tuberville.
Tuberville, senator for Alabama.
But here's the issue. Then you get to that vote right there. And how did they all vote? Just the same way. To a small degree. And I was talking to my greatest political advisor about this, my mama. To a small degree, I'm glad we had Trump. Because what you just saw there is the situation in a nutshell. Everybody was voting that way. And then everybody else in the world got mad at Tommy Tuberville for saying it out loud. But at the end of the day, the actual functional thing that got done, well, they're all Tommy Tuberville.
Yep.
Every last one of them.
Yep.
208.
And they vote that
What was
way
that?
to prevent veterans from getting health care. They vote against funding schools. And if you put up a bill in the U.S. Congress to say, like, kick every man in the nuts and slap every woman in the face, the Republicans would find a way to be on board for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, Senator Tommy Tuberville was on TV pretending that he doesn't know that white nationalism is inherently linked to racism.
Yeah.
I'm not racist. I was a football coach. I coached black kids. So, right?
Yeah.
So, like this.
I'm not how could I be racist? A man who made his money by using free labor from black folks now I hear it. Never mind. Withdrawn.
It's like white national, but we had some person do that thing here too, right? I can't remember who, but the white nationalism's like, well, it's like if you're a nationalist, you're proud of your country, and you happen to be white, well, then you're just an American, right? I mean, I guess we're like trying to they call it white national, like the term white nationalism exists because it is inherently linked to racism. That's where it came from. You're just trying to give a new definition to a word, right? It's like, I don't see how that could be linked to racism. Like this, I'm a nationalist. I love my country. I'm white. I'm a white nationalist. Well, what's so racist about that? It's like, yeah, right. Because you're taking the word white and nationalist and separating them. The term is white nationalist together. It has
All
meaning.
we are saying is that it should be a nation run by and for white folks. Oh, I heard it again.
Oh,
I
heard it again.
More. Soul searching.
But this guy, in addition to doing this, has got his knickers in a twist so bad because of all the abortion laws, restriction laws, right? The U.S. military passed a rule that they will pay for military personnel on bases in states such like Alabama, example, who can no longer access abortion because they're working in Alabama, well, the military will pay for them to go out of state to get their abortions if they need them. So he's been holding up military promotions, over 275 of them, including the head of the Marines and the head of the
commandant,
Joint
yeah.
Commandant of the Marines and the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Thank you. That I think is a bigger deal than a lot of folks realize. That's the first time in history the Marines have been in this situation. Given that,
and the Marines are the oldest fighting force in the United States of America.
Yeah, they were invented
as an organized,
along with they were invented basically along with America. Like the Marines hold a very it's weird, but kind of a
I've
special
been to the Marine
place.
Corps ball.
Yeah,
I've been to the Marine Corps ball a couple of times.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I mean, they themselves are not like special forces, but they're like just a shade under in terms like
they're shock troopers.
Yeah,
right?
And they also are like some of the most intensely trained. They do the normal boot camp and then a couple weeks, and they all have specializations and yada yada yada. But the point is, we entrust them with our most dangerous killing machines, and we make them our most of the standard issue dangerous killing machines. And you really want that force to have a guy who's in charge of it.
One would think, let's unleash the Kraken, but we have nobody holding the leash of the Kraken, or Kraken, I should say. But
Kraken. And here's the thing, right? Like he's literally holding up. He's affecting military readiness, right?
Yes.
And he's going like, well, what's your solution? He goes, well, the solution is to take the policy, go back to what it was, then send us a bill and let everybody vote on it. Right. That's his like. He's like, I want to vote on this. Like, you're still going to lose the vote, but he wants to vote on it. Okay. Then because it's a Senate vote, and they don't have them in the Senate. And he goes, and then Joe Biden goes, well, I expect the Republican Party to stand up and do something about it. The idea that we are injecting into fundamental foreign policy decisions on what, in fact, is a domestic social debate on social issues is bizarre. I don't ever recall that happening, ever. And it's totally irresponsible in my view. I'll be willing to talk to him about if there's any possibility he would change this ridiculous position he has. He's jeopardizing unit security with what he's doing. It's totally irresponsible in my opinion. I'm confident that the mainstream does not support what he's doing, but they've got to stand up and be counted. That's how it ends, said Biden. To which Tuberville responded, well, that didn't sound like anybody that wants to sit down and visit and work a problem out. It's a problem because you made it a problem, not because it is. It sounds like somebody who wants to argue about it. I'm not in this to argue. You know, I've been called a lot of my names in my career anyway, so we won't worry about that.
And
literally.
To be clear, the rule he's objecting to is that active duty service people who don't have a say in where they get to live, not really, they can be moved from a state where sanity is allowed and you can have abortions if you need one, to a place where it's not. And the policy he's objecting to is just the military allowing their service people to travel to the state of their choice to get an abortion. There are two real big problems I have with Tommy Tuberville outside of whether you should allow an abortion or not. Number one is, yes, he's once again doing the conservative move of taking a conversation which is not about something and making it about that. Maddening. That is a reaction that the military is doing to his own party's policies in these states. The other thing which truly makes me furious is that he's going to turn around and say that he's pro-military. He's going to turn around and say that he's for, let's say, small government. While at the same time trying to make it so that your state, the area of the country you live in, has complete control over you, no matter who you are. So
the irony.
Yeah. So imagine you're from Tennessee and you travel to Wisconsin, but because you live in Tennessee, suddenly you're subject to all Tennessee laws while you're in Wisconsin. That is more power for a government than even the U.S. government has over its own citizens when they travel abroad. That's an insane amount of power to have. That goes
really
beyond just these are your citizens. These are your thralls. They're your peasants at that point. I
So
can't believe
the thing that I find strange about all of this, having, to what Tuberville or Tuberville, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
cunt. Sorry.
Tommy T.
Sorry.
Oh,
I won't do that again. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. What I find odd about this is he's holding it up because he doesn't want women to travel to states where they can get an abortion.
Yeah.
Here's where I find the oddity to me is like you're on base. That's federal land.
Yeah.
Could they not have medical facilities on base to do this? But the state wants to control what is done at a federal level because the military is federal.
Yeah.
And you can't just walk onto a base. If they don't want you on the base, you don't walk on the base, period. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
If they stop you, you can't enter. So I'm confused as to why they have to send people out of state when they could just say, well, federally, our program is different because we're the military and this is how we're going to do it. And there's not a damn thing you can say about it. Does that go into the states' rights thing where they freak out because they're saying that's overstep from the federal government? Like I can't fully get my head around it because I know in the Canadian military, the federal laws apply no matter what province you live in. Right?
I think from what I heard, it's a logistics thing. There just aren't enough women that are pregnant and that then would need abortions to have that person on a base full time. So they do send it out. But they might have to bring someone in.
And for that would make sense. The issue you're both having here is you're intelligent, and we're talking about American politicians here. Not gonna...
Well, for that, I'm going to have myself a.
Ooh!
It is my vacation after all, so let's have a Guinness, nitro cold brew, coffee beer.
No, I mean, wait, that makes sense what you're saying, but I mean, first of all, you nailed it when you were saying that there's just not enough demand on the bases. There's not now. Let me tell you, there's such a thing as a barracks bunny, and there's going to be that demand pretty soon. But the other issue is that even if the demand was there and that solution was proposed, you would have the exact same thing that's happening right now happening just over that now, saying, oh, we can't have base abortions because of reasons.
But here's the thing I don't understand. It's this position. I mean, the military is always spending. They're always building new installations. Now, if you're in Alabama, you just said like, okay, we're not going to be expending any more here, and maybe over time we need to close this base and move the people out because they're affected.
What I mean, there's a couple
any expansion or anything like that. Like we're going to put this in another state instead.
So like
that would scare the hell out of them, right? Because there's so much money that the military pours in to whatever town, city, and state that they live in. Not only from spending of military dollars on equipment locally, but it's the local economy that gets boosted from people living.
I mean, there's certain places where you strategically have to have something, and if it happens to be in a red state, it's there. You can't move that. But for anything else,
yeah.
So like we have, for example, Selfridge Air Base not far from me, and honestly, that base could have been pretty much anywhere to my knowledge. But most bases are like there's the Navy training facility up by the Great Lakes as well, and that's got to be there because it's like a private little ocean where they can train and yada yada. Down south, we need a lot of the bases that we have because we need people training in that those temperatures with the brew of down south. We have bases in California for the same reason. Most of the bases are determined for strategic reasons.
Well, why there's bases in Greenland and throughout Alaska, right? For cold weather training.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yes. And a lot of times when people go for their specialization, first of all, they'll train in like South Carolina, and then they'll go someplace like that for their specialization. The thing that's disturbing to me, because I don't think in my lifetime we haven't had a war that I thought we should participate in. But if we're going to be in a war, I want us to do it well. And the thing, oh God, it's a dark thing, but it's like, if you got to cut off,
Double-edged sword.
yeah, if you got to cut off the limb, let's hope you at least have a sharp knife. And the issue that you bring up, I think, is dead on, because they're probably going to make calculations like this if this goes on much longer, where they're saying we do need an on-base abortion doctor. And if we can't do it in this red state, or if we can't get an on-base abortion doctor, then we can't have this in a red state, because we're going to have soldiers that need to have abortions that can't. We're going to be just losing soldiers. So we are going to be moving bases, and that is going to affect military readiness, not just in the long term, but for generations. We will have worse American soldiers. Okay, maybe that's not the worst thing on earth, to be honest, but still. It's like the destruction of a country is a boring thing, believe it or not. Most of the harm is quite boring, and this is one of those things. Held up promotions, no medical care.
This comment from Ree, Saucy Sea Witch, there are many Republicans who wouldn't want women in the military, so this would be a good way to push them out.
Unless they are Republican men in the military, in which case they very much want women there.
Yeah, I know. It's just so bizarre. Yeah. One man is holding up all of this stuff.
About 265 promotions at some point in early July.
One man. Because he is not even ideologically motivated. He's just a crooked, sick, twisted.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to.
I think I used up all of our get away with cursing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm going to hold it off.
It came from an honest place, at least. Those are my genuine feelings about it. But the downstream effects too are insane. Like those 265 promotions, then the spot they aren't getting out of to go be promoted, that's also not getting filled.
Right.
Oh, it's just a disaster. It really is. Thank God it's peacetime, although you wouldn't know from our recently increased military budget who we looking at next. We're going to go after you,
Will they add another 100? Did they add another 100 billion to it?
Something like it, just an obscene amount. I know that I had to scream into my pillow like a teenage girl that just got a call from the boy she has a crush on, only I was furious.
He told me he gave Buffy Rogers his pen. The prick.
Well, let's boil it down to 1 million seconds is equivalent to 11 and a half days.
Okay.
1 billion seconds is equivalent to 32 years. So they've increased the budget by $100 billion. You know, when you do that comparison from 1 million to 1 billion, 11 and a half days to 32 years, it really puts into perspective how much money $1 billion is.
Yes, I'm going to steal that,
I think
by
that's
the way.
easy.
Oh, wait, I don't have to
please
steal
do.
it. I'm simultaneously streaming this to my channel. It's stolen already. Great.
There you
go.
Wicked.
Really
But when you put that into perspective, I think a lot of people begin to realize, because they're always throwing around $1 billion here, $1 billion there. What's the big deal? It's like, hang on a second now. The difference is astronomically wide.
We're starting to talk about real money here. $1 billion here, $1 billion there.
Yeah, that's
like I said, $22 billion is what Doug Ford's sitting on here.
Just in Ontario alone. And he won't spend it on us.
And we were talking about this earlier because it's the same playbook. We see this from conservatives, your country, my country, in Brazil. It's all the same. They make government work poorly so they can say, you can't trust government, better privatize this.
Hire us to be the government.
Profit.
You can't trust government, hire us to be the government.
Yeah.
But you are the government.
It doesn't work. The system doesn't work. You broke the system. Of course it doesn't work.
But in Canada
right
now, 7 of the provinces are run by conservative ideological governments. One has a sane conservative government, Prince Edward Island, the smallest one, but all the other ones are wackadoodle. And it really is. It's like, you can't trust government. us, hire us to be the government because government, we'll fix government. Everything government screws up. Says, but you are the government. That's why you need to hire us again.
But you screwed it up.
Yes.
And I think it's fitting that PEI has a progressive conservative who's not a raging lunatic, who actually is a progressive, when you consider, Confederation and Prince Edward Island, the significance there, right?
Yeah, the cradle of Confederation. So I wanted to ask you about Tennessee, because it was in the news a lot when you had those 3 state legislative representatives that sided with the kids who were upset that their right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness didn't include the right to get an education without getting mowed down. So, and then, of course, 2 of them got ejected. The 2
Justin Pearson and Justin Jones. Yes, indeed.
Yes. The white woman, now, I mean, she's a woman and she does have mobility issues. So, I mean, they did have 2 reasons to kick her out, female, and she doesn't move as well as everybody else. But I guess they kept her because I guess the white trumped that. But then they apparently had to be nominated again, which they were. And then they got to re-access their seats because people said, we ain't having that. I'm not sure if they had the election. They have to actually have an election or go to a runoff. I'm not sure if that's happened yet. But and then you have the Attorney General, who apparently is asking for hospitals to hand them all the medical records of people who are transgender, who had some type of surgery or treatment or whatnot. And I'm thinking, why does the Attorney General want the personal medical files of citizens? He says, of course, it's to see if the funding or something like that or the program is going well, but you don't need their names. You just need the...
No, you don't.
data.
I mean, it's
Tennessee. What the hell?
It's truly genocidal. Let's just be clear about that. They're doing everything from a playbook that if you had the least amount of education, you would recognize as a genocidal playbook. Unfortunately, in this country, the Democrats who are weak and dumb have lost to Republicans enough that education has been kneecapped, so they're getting away with it so far.
Yeah.
But you're quite correct. Like, Tennessee is just what happens when you let Republicans run a state. So is Florida. It's attacking trans people, being abusive to representatives with any bit of melanin in their skin. But the upside to it is that it forces a reaction. And that is what the Democrats as an organization needed. If you guys watch I know you guys watch my channel occasionally, I'm tickled. But what I frequently talk about is the fact that the Democrats being poked into action means that they've actually had to learn how to scrap a little bit. I believe firmly in my heart that in 5 years, the Conservative Party in the United States are going to be the Democrats, because they're all on a world stage. They're already conservative.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to fill up that gap when people get a Trump hangover. And I think then you're going to see the Democrats break into people that call themselves the Democrats and people that call themselves progressives. I look forward to that. We're gonna need, unfortunately, more Gloria Johnsons and Justin Pearsons and was it just the other fella, Justin? Also Johnson. Yeah,
2 Justins, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But we're gonna need strong figures like that too, and the squad, just people to make a name for progressives. There just have not been progressives.
Justin Pearson.
Jones.
Justin Pearson makes me think
Jones in there.
Of Lester B. Pearson, right? The Prime Minister who gave us so many wonderful things like employment insurance, healthcare, like the Canadian flag, 40-hour work week. And he did it under a minority government too, right?
That I was unaware of.
Yeah.
God, I've been really like looking to other countries and just speaking of and historical figures, like just politicians from then and now and there and here, and trying to get a sense of like who encountered similar problems to what we're encountering now. Unfortunately, the similar problems, I'm all like Churchill, FDR, okay, well, don't like what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, which all like back home, it's like if we're in times similar to times where Churchill and FDR were needed,
it's not good.
Our prime minister's doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, guys, I know Trudeau ain't exactly a prince, but I can't tell you how jealous. I'm so jealous.
Well, look, here's the thing: when you have John Baird, who was a conservative in the Conservative Party, a member, he was on the Hill, he was a member of Parliament for years, and now he's the campaign co-chair for Pierre Poilievre, introduces Justin Trudeau thusly. Justin Trudeau is one of the most successful political leaders of our generation. John Baird, conservative, Pierre Poilievre, campaign chair. So when your literal ideological opponent presents you this way, and then you get slapped, you get taken to the woodshed by Harper and Poilievre and probably Preston Manning.
And Jenny Byrne.
And Jenny Byrne. Then you go on Twitter and say, CBC manipulated what I said. No, they didn't. We watched the video, dude.
Which reminds me of Kevin McCarthy.
Ooh, I got to pause real quick. You have a shockingly good Poilievre impression. Like it's pretty dang good. I just credit where it's due.
You should see it when he really does the full nasal. He's really got
that twerp.
Bring home powerful paychecks.
He's really got it.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
There's cadence too.
So
I'll tell you.
I keep on telling you, it's because your paycheck shows up wearing a little cape going.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, it was like somebody the other day questioned, and I think I have. Is it this one?
But hold on. Kevin
Yeah, yes. There it is.
That's okay. Well, yeah, that thing. Okay, I put it up.
Yeah, I'll put it up. I've been earning paychecks for 35 plus years. I don't ever recall looking at any check and thinking that's a powerful paycheck. Even working 7-day, 16-hour shifts, I wouldn't describe the check as powerful. So, what is a powerful paycheck? Is it a paycheck with no CPP contributions? And
that's
my friends, that's it right there. That's it right there. There's no EI, no CPP, no social programs whatsoever. That's the powerful paycheck that Pierre wants to bring home because he hates social programs.
Helping people.
Yeah, he does.
So we've been having a couple of things that happen. Like first, we've had some conservative politicians like take a picture next to a guy that was saying, "Have you thanked a straight person for your existence?" type thing, and then like green shirt, like the green behind you, like this with the big black letters, and they say, "Well, we didn't read the T-shirt," and then of course, because yeah, you did.
Yeah,
so,
and he admitted it
that way. And then we got John Baird, like I said, who comes out and says, the most successful prime minister in a generation, and then pulls the tweet the next day after he said, you were my campaign co-chairs. Like after 8 years of like corruption and whatnot, because if you really truly believed he was corrupt for the 8 years, you would have showed up the previous day to actually introduce him and give him a warm embrace after you did.
Yeah.
So, and now we have Kevin, and which made me think as soon as I read this, oh my God, we're having our Kevin McCarthy moment, because twice now Kevin McCarthy, right after January 6th, said, Trump is a terrible thing, and like this. And then he went and took that visit to Mar-a-Lago, and then there was a picture of them standing together all smiling. And then the other day, he went on the news and said, well, I'm not sure that, that Trump might not be the guy or something. He made this little the comment. They were asking if Trump had a chance to win, and said, well, I think Trump has a good chance to win the primary like this, but, is he the guy in the general? I don't know. And then apparently he got called. He came back. And he is now apparently like saying things to win people, and he seems to be seems to be this dynamic where Trump's asking him to do something, and then he tells Trump he's going to do it, and then he doesn't really do it, and then he makes all the Trump people mad that he didn't do it, but he makes the non-Trump people mad when he goes back to Trump afterwards and goes, "Oh, no, sorry." Like, what's the deal with this guy? I mean, I understand, and then Marjorie, and all of a sudden now he's got a friendship with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was like and Marjorie Taylor Greene ended up got in a fight with Lauren Boebert and called her a little bitch. It's just like on the house floor.
So good.
I mean, things are in the peach tree dish. Remember that. Everything's carbonates from the peach tree dish.
Oh God, I can't believe she said that. Yeah. So, all right, Kevin McCarthy. First of all, yes, he's from California, but there are red parts of California. He's in a bright red part. So understand he's in a safe district. This guy's background, he worked for a politician in that bright red district and basically inherited the district. He is not a smart man.
No.
But his edge in politics is he's one of the rare people that knows he's not smart. This is key to understanding.
Smart enough to know he's not smart.
Yes, I mean he at least, like, back when he was just inheriting the district, I'm sure somebody told him to his face, like, you're too dumb. Don't do anything else. You will never get elected elsewhere.
Yeah,
and he's right. But here's the thing: his highest ambition. He came in with Paul Ryan and the other people that were called the Young Guns. Even though he was in his late 40s at the time, he was really stretching young there. But all right, fair in politics, fair enough. But he came in with Paul Ryan and these other fellas. He's the only one still standing from that group.
Yep.
Because Paul Ryan is smart, but not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yep.
He's charismatic, not as charismatic as he thinks he is.
Yep.
So like a little weevil, like a little cockroach, he survived. But I can't stress enough that he remains dumb. He will keep saying dumb things, like outing the fact that Benghazi was just a stunt. And he is desperate to stay where he is, and he will do anything to not change things. So I can't stress enough, like, he actually understands that Trump can't win an election. He actually understands that if in the presidential election, whether the Republican Party wins or loses, if a lot of Republicans don't turn out, it's even possible that he could not get his seat back, because that's how turned off his California red district is. Even more, he knows it is probably more likely than not that he will lose his job as Speaker of the House, given the way the current political realm is looking. So he's knowing that his plans aren't for greater things than the House of Representatives. This guy is just desperately trying to walk this knife's edge and praying every day that God sends Trump's heart and a little piece of fat that gets stuck in a vein, and saves McCarthy's career.
Because the latest one apparently is that Team Trump, because of hurt fifis, want a law passed to expunge the impeachment vote.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
never mind that he wasn't formally, like, they had the trial, but he wasn't ultimately impeached. So I don't know what that changes. And the votes would have still happened, and the trial would have still happened, and all that would still be in the history books. But they want the votes expunged. That's his priority at the moment.
Yeah. It's like Saddam Hussein, Kim Jong-un level ridiculousness. Like, we're just going to hear this stuff all the way until Trump's locked away.
So apparently he's promised Trump that he would do this. Promised.
Oh, yeah.
Like this.
Oh, yeah.
And he's telling the other Republicans, it's like, well, could we maybe? And so the moderate ones are going, yeah, that's really not a good idea.
No.
You think?
So so they don't want to do it, and Trump's going, but you promised.
Oh yeah, And I like if you go to Kevin McCarthy and just like bark at him, he'll start doing whatever you say to do. He doesn't consider whether it's possible or not. That never enters into his brain. He'll just say yes, sir. And then later, when somebody else tells him that's not a thing that we even have the ability to do, he'll turn around and be like, I never intended to do that. And then when the first person comes back to him, he'll be like, "Oh, we're working on it." And it's like a Brady Bunch episode where he's having two dates at once.
I promise
and it doesn't get settled until the media asks.
He's like, he tells Trump, I promise I'll get it done. And the other ones, we're working on a deal.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that just occurred to me when you say that Kevin McCarthy was considered a young gun when he entered when he got in there at what, 42, 44? I can't remember how old it was. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but if you can consider him to be a young gun if you compare him to somebody like, I don't know, Orrin Hatch or Mitch McConnell or Chuck Grassley, because like McConnell got involved in politics in 1975.
Yeah, like
Chuck Grassley's been in his position for 42 years, the longest serving Republican senator in history.
It's young by our standards, but young like for compare, like by the standards of how, I mean, we've had so many politicians just essentially, this is blowing my mind, because Americans until quite recently just didn't pay attention to politics. Like nobody had any idea what was going on. Basically, once you got in, you were there until you chose to leave. Yeah. That meant that all of our politicians are like geriatric because it's a real cushy job where they get to set their own paycheck. So of course they hung out there. Oh yeah, and the law doesn't apply to them, so they kept that job.
Oh, and then the healthcare factor too, right?
Yes. But the way it's supposed to run is that the House of Representatives is relatively, for a national level position, relatively easy to get into. Mm-hmm. So now that people give a damn, we have people like Maxwell Frost in Florida. He's 25 years old. That's a little more. I mean, it's a little young for me, but still, like
frontal lobes have just finished forming at that point, right?
But still, like to show you what a difference in political atmosphere we have, even though he is the youngest, for the record. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit more normal these days. Whereas just 15 years ago, McCarthy was considered a young gun in the middle of his 40s. Yeah. So I think it's a sign of improvement, but I can't stress enough, whenever you're trying to predict what McCarthy will do, remember that he's dumb and he's not much more ambitious than where he is right now.
Well, and getting young people involved in politics is good, but I sometimes I think, whoa, hang on a second here. Like Skippy, the Wonder Pigeon, Pierre Poliver, entered politics when he was 21.
Feels like
he's been in that position for 20 years. He's never held a real job, ever. And Sam Oosterhoff got elected when was he 19 when he got elected?
Yeah.
I do think there needs to be some insistence that you live in the country you govern to some degree.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What do you think of this? I got a pitch for a law that I genuinely want to try. My representative is Rashida Tlaib. I might harass her about this. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the law that every politician, let's say at a state level, should be required to traverse the district they represent using nothing but public transportation at least once a year?
I like that idea a lot. So you can really understand what it's like to be with the common people.
Yeah. Like, you're going to have to actually go see us and smell us and now
sit next to us.
Myself. Yeah, sit next to us, get called to see you next Tuesday by us.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And actually have a sense of what it's like to live as one of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here what I think. Let's take that one step further. Okay, take it one step further. When you have to do that, let's say they have to do it twice a year. On those days, you are only allowed to have enough money that a minimum wage earner would earn on that day. So
I
you can't,
love that.
no expenses. You can't expense it. You have to pull it out of your own damn pocket, and you have to do it from the budget that we set, which would be what a minimum wage earner would have to live on. So you have to traverse on public transport and then feed yourself with the same wage. And then remember, at the end of the day, you don't have a car, you have rent that's
A day's
spiraling
24
out of
hours.
control.
You got to sleep somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
folks in the audience, help me name this bill. What is something we could call this day that politicians would have to experience? It would be just hell for them.
No,
But what's something
I
we
think
could
it should be
call
a
it?
week, though. I mean, if you're going to traverse your district, I mean, that's not going to happen. You shouldn't just
Well,
traverse just a city that has the best public transit in where you are. I mean, let's get to the place where there are food deserts and
Oh yeah, I think every district in the country should require it. Not sure. Trying to find out. Yeah. I think I think that idea might be delightful, but to be honest with y'all, I don't think it would pass. I don't
No.
think it has a snowball's chance in hell.
No.
But the value of it is not just in if we could somehow get it passed. What I really want is to see all the politicians get up and have to nervously explain why they think it's a bad idea.
Bingo.
And just
Bingo.
clip that. All right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tear you to shreds now.
well, I mean, we just saw 208 Republicans didn't find a good reason for which to report white supremacy in the military. So
Yeah. What am I
Go back to
talking
that
about?
graphic.
Counting
I
on
have a lot of
shame.
hope.
But
I
that's
tend to
the
be an
thing.
optimist, but
That's- I've really dived into the new conservative movement, which is not at all conservative. It's just
No.
whatever. That's the thing. They're all for white supremacy. They love racism. And yet, want to talk about building bridges. One thing we are in agreement on, they effing despise the oligarchs. They
Mhm.
hate them nearly as much as we do. And the only thing that stops them from hating them just as much is that they're lied to a lot more about them. But like,
Yeah.
that is, I think, that is a wedge issue. Whereas the white supremacy thing, they're either going to believe that, oh, lefties just want to say white supremacists, but they're just going after whatever.
Yeah, I think
Or they're
this
elbowing
kinda-
and saying we like that.
this kind of
But on
says it
this-
right here, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
But on this, with them having to actually traverse their district, I think that would hit very different. And I
It
think you would have them fumbling and stumbling, trying to come up with reasons why they can't be amongst the filthy poors.
Well, and then let's take that one step further. The build the wall folks who are so desperate to get that wall built to keep out them Mexicans and brown people from coming into our country. They're surging into our country to take it over. No, you do realize that a large part of the agricultural community in both our countries relies upon migrant workers. Without migrant workers, it would collapse. Because people who look like me refuse to do that work.
Yep.
Number one. Number two, the migrant workers, because they're, not necessarily here legally all the time, they get paid a lot less money. They do get paid, but it's next to nothing. And they live in these long workhouses, which is basically a barracks, is all it is, with no privacy whatsoever. And they do it because, it's profitable for them to do it that way. So when they say they want to put an end to it, you have an entire industry that absolutely doesn't want that to happen. They won't come out and publicly say it, but it's a fact.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
had
fact.
we had representatives in Florida having like desperate meetings with migrant workers saying like, no, it's just a political thing. We're not actually going to enforce this. Followed by again in Florida, where a monstrous bill was just passed, empty fields with unharvested crops. Get ready, by the way, folks who enjoy investing and shorting stocks. I don't know if you can do that in your country. I hope not. It's an awful practice, but if you can, you should do this. Get ready for some real unstable crop exports from the United States because
Yep.
all of our southern states are having this problem now.
Oh yeah.
And the
We
heat trap.
shot ourselves in the foot.
Not only
What
the
now?
heat wave. Not only the heat wave,
Oh,
but Blumenthal was
God.
on there saying like the crops are actually cooking in the field right now
Yes.
Yeah.
before
Yep.
you can harvest them.
There was a fella I met a couple of years ago on Canada Day. He was here visiting from California, and we were sitting there watching the Jays game because the Jays always play a Canada Day game in Toronto, and I think they were playing the Yankees at the time, which is usually what they do. And we're sitting there, and this fella had a Toronto Blue Jays jersey on. And I go, "Oh, you're from Toronto?" He goes, "No, I'm from Los Angeles." We're like, he goes, "I just love the Blue Jays." He goes, "I started watching them in the 90s when they won their back-to-back World Series. I became a fan." I'm like, "Cool." And he said, "I was in Toronto," and somebody says, "Well, you should, Canada Day, you should go up to Ottawa." So he gets up here and he's like, "Holy Christ, it's hot." It was 47 degrees with humidex that day. He's like, "I can't believe how hot it is." And I go, that's typical in Ottawa on Canada Day. It's either a raging downpour or the hottest day of the year.
Yep.
So we're having a
Hold
nice
on.
conversation with this fella, and he was telling us how in California, the crops were rotting in the field because they couldn't get anybody to pick them.
First of all, I just had to translate 47 degrees Celsius to real temperature. That's insanely hot.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
Yeah, it
busting
is.
your chops, but that is A,
Ottawa.
insanely hot. And B, yeah, could not be a worse time for
Mhm.
for global warming to collide with terrible immigration understanding.
Mhm.
Boy, I do not look forward to the next year in the grocery aisle.
No, it's gonna. We think it's expensive now, even
Hmm.
though inflation is dropping. Food prices aren't, and they're
Mm-mm.
only going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was talking to my mom and dad yesterday. I spent some time with them, and I went to the Legion with my dad for a couple of hours yesterday, and they had a sing along playing guitars, and had a couple of drinks and sat there and hung out and had a great time, and then went to dinner with my folks, and we were talking about how $50 worth of groceries could feed you for 4-5 days. $50 worth of groceries today is a day and maybe like you'll get 3 meals and maybe a lunch or a breakfast the next day.
Yeah.
$50 does not buy you enough food to survive anymore. So you have to start rationing, changing your diet, buying a lot more rice.
Yeah.
But the problem with
Yeah.
rice, although
More
rice
beef,
is
more
good
lentils.
and it fills
Takes a
you,
ton of water.
it's the protein factor you're missing out on. So it's like
Oh.
beans and lentils. And yeah, they're effective. But then you'll get people who go, "I just want something else." So they go to a Golden Arches where they can get a cheap meal for next to nothing. And we don't have this here, but I know that in some states they have free Fridays. Literally, you get free French fries. So let me see if I get this correct. I can get fries for free with a $1 drink of a 32-ounce soda, or I could get a small fruit cup for $5.
Yeah.
So I pay $1 for a soda of 32 ounces of sugar, which I can refill as often as I want, by the way. And then I get a free fries. So for $1, I'm feeding myself. But if I want to eat something healthy and nutritious, it's out of my budget. So
Like
there's a
people
problem.
wonder why like we Americans get made fun of for being fat, and rightly so. We're a husky lot, but like,
It's poverty.
yes, like
what
nobody
it is.
questions how a whole country's body shape changes over time. Like,
Well, when it's-
maybe something's amiss.
When we were in, my buddy and I went down to Saratoga Springs back in May to see Connie Han perform live. Amazing show. I'm going to be interviewing her for the jazz show I do at some point in the near future. Notice that Saratoga Springs.
You better
Saratoga
send me a
Springs
link.
average median income is about $97,000. Is the median income in that city, and it's a city of like 25,000 people. Well, $97,000 is a damn good living here. It gets you, the middle class cutoff where I live is $87,000. I don't meet that, but they're $10,000 over that. Now consider $10,000 US dollars, number one, which gives you more buying power. But number two, the cost of living is lower, with the exception of health insurance. But we noticed in Saratoga Springs, everyone has health insurance because, and I say this with the kindest possible way I can say it. We did not notice a single obese person in all of Saratoga Springs the whole time. Not a one.
Yep.
Not a one. Everybody was fit. Everybody was healthy. Everybody was out having a good time. They had money to spend and they looked good. On the way back, we stopped in Plattsburgh at a Walmart. I don't think I need to go into what we witnessed there, but we were truly disturbed by it. True, like we walk into the grocery aisle because we went to get some Guinness 00 because we can't get it in the non-alcoholic Guinness in Canada yet. So we walk in and we notice that there's the fresh fruits and vegetables aisle where there might have been 3 people. Then we get to the soda and crackers aisle. You can't walk through it. And why? Because one is affordable and the other is not.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
I come from, for the record, I'm what do they say? Poor as a church mouse. But I come from wealthy honkies, and just you've hit the nail on the head. Having lived on both sides of those tracks, you don't even think about it. Like when you have money, you just buy what you're in the mood for.
Yes.
But when you are poor, you're suddenly like, which of these things that I can afford has protein? Because I haven't had protein in a month. You're buying cereal, and you're just all grain and sugar and fat in in 1,000 different forms, but it's all the same crap.
Yeah.
And look, if that's something you love, more power to you. But the issue is, at one point, your doctor is going to go to you, if you can afford a doctor. Your doctor is going to go to you and say, your heart is going to pop if you don't eat a GD vegetable.
Yeah.
But you just simply can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
It's brutal.
Well, there was a story. There's a young woman I follow here on the Twitter, Erin Brooke. I want to say Erin Brooke. She tweeted something a few years ago, and that was an instant follow for me. She said, "I realized I was no longer poor the day I went to the grocery store and I filled my cart, and I wasn't adding up everything I put in my cart. When I got to the cash to pay, I didn't even think about it because I knew I had enough money to cover it." She says, "That was the moment I realized I was no longer poor. I wasn't rich. I wasn't even middle class, but I was no longer poor." And I'm like, yeah, I've done that, going to the grocery store, and it's like, nope, that's going to have to stay on the shelf. We'll get the no-name version of that, which is, that's salt and fat, but $5 versus 99 cents, which, when the budget is tight, and I've been there, I've had times when my earnings have been very healthy, and I was a member of the middle class for about 3 years, and then that changed. It was nice. It was nice being able to just go in and make a purchase and not have to think about it.
Yeah.
Not have to concern myself with, can I afford this? And there are millions of people on both sides of the border, millions of people who, when they purchase groceries, have to price check everything and add up in their head, do I have enough money to cover this?
Yeah.
And that's no way to live.
It's really not. And if you're wealthy, you don't even consider like the secondary things that happen. Yeah. Like, all right, let's say you are you're poor and you're buying groceries. The worst case scenario for you is not that your card gets declined. The worst case scenario for you is that the bank, you go over and the bank covers the cost, and then you get hit with an additional fee. And now
you're punished.
You got no money in the bank. If you needed to put any gas in your car, you better hope there's a crumpled dollar in between the couch cushions somewhere. It gets exponentially worse. These things compound, and this becomes your life, all because you had to buy the Kellogg's brand cereal and you didn't buy the Sack cereal.
Yep.
There is a level of, and I know this is true in the US, I suspect it's true in Canada too. There is a level of willful ignorance about this stuff from people who just don't have people in their circle of friends that got to deal with it, that allows it to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And the thing is, if we keep offsetting all these problems onto the people that got to live a little bit rougher, they always catch up. They go through, they burn right through the poor folks, then they catch up to the middle class, and then eventually you got rich people buying their groceries, having them shipped in from another country because they just can't get groceries here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big systemic problem. and as I've said on this show before, and I'll say it again, and Mr. Beaver, you know that I say this, food banks are a failure of society. A
Yes.
failure. And when we have politicians saying, get out and donate to your local food bank, motherfucker, no. Eliminate
Why am I
food
doing your
banks.
job? Yeah.
Your job is to make sure people have enough money, earn enough money. Now, look, some people will piss it away on drugs and alcohol. Fine. Okay, fine. But it's just, I'm exasperated.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there's
we got fired up.
everybody's got to eat. This is the part I don't get. Right, and I don't know if you guys have the same situation in the United States, but we're having a problem with housing because we just don't have enough supply. But we're trying to break in 500,000 immigrants a year because we're not reproducing enough to keep the economy going. We're not building enough houses fast enough to actually house them. So now we're making, $200 million one-time investments in shelters because 1/3 of the shelter space is being occupied by the asylum seekers and refugees and new people that are coming in that we need to help us fill the workforce, but we've not created spaces for them to live yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem that's happening up here. I don't know if it's the same state-wise, but ours is starting with housing and then going towards food. And I guess in the United States, it's starting with food and maybe going towards other stuff. But
It's both simultaneously.
Food and healthcare.
It's that same chain. The poor folks had housing problems first, and now we're having that experience translate to middle class folks, where they are now having prohibitively expensive housing.
Mm-hmm.
And just you guys are ahead of us on this one. Just like all the buildings are being that's it. All the buildings are being bought up by major companies, including foreign investors. And now we are at the place where we've got to do something about it. But we're so distracted by the fact that we had a coup that there's really nothing. I mean, we're just playing Republican nonsense ball right now, but it's got to happen soon.
Well, here's a graphic from Fred. The median sales price of houses sold for the United States. And you can see how it spiked up after 2020. Like it jumped way up. Now you can also see here that it's trending down a little bit, but how much? And you compare that to this is from the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Same thing. Look at the spike. It's just from 2002 to now, it's gone up like a ramp.
Now compare that to minimum wage over time.
Yeah.
Not even close. And I talked to my dad about this yesterday. I said, in 1980, a person earning minimum wage could save enough money to get a down payment to buy a house. Sure, your mortgage rate interest rate was at like 19 or 20%. Okay, a lot of money. But the house would have cost something like 4 to 5 times your annual salary, your annual income, even for a minimum wage earner back then. Today, a middle-class person earning $100,000, the average house price is $900 and change.
Yes.
So there's the difference between what you earn and the cost of the house. Forget that the interest rates are at 5%, which is a lot of people going, that's unbelievably high. And I go, yeah, if you bought it at 0 and 0.25 and now it's 5, that's a big increase for you, but it's not 19%, but the cost of the house alone. And Mr. Beaver, you can speak to this much better than I can because this is an area you're well versed in.
Yeah, we bought a house 2 years ago. So we're getting dinged right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But millennials aren't having kids.
My mortgage started out at about like $850 a month, and it's now $1,300 and something a month.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
Canada raised interest rates higher and faster and more aggressively than any other country in the world to try and curb this inflation. We also have the lowest inflation in the G7 at 2.8 at the moment. But the thing is that while, we said on the show the other day, while core inflation is 2.8, food inflation is 9.1, and housing inflation is 30.1.
Why is it our governments think the only way to handle inflation is to raise interest rates? It's maddening.
Yep.
Wild idea. Why don't we try regulating the people that are causing the inflation?
Oh no. We can't do
You'd
that.
think,
Those are
right?
our wealthy donors. We
Excuse me.
can't
You're
harm
right.
them.
I'm sorry. It's foolish.
It started with
I didn't mean
Reagan
to
when he
offend
cut
my
the
lord.
corporate tax. When he cut the corporate taxes from 90% under Eisenhower, 90% over a certain limit, right? So you'd pay a certain percentage until you hit something like the $10 million figure, and then it was a 90% corporate tax rate.
Boom.
He sliced that right down to the bone, and we're still seeing the effects of that in 2023.
Mhm.
He hasn't been president for a long time.
Yeah.
One of
And
the
it
reasons
started in 1980, right?
Yeah, one of the reasons I took him as my worst
Mhm.
when we did our show the other day, last time.
Yeah.
Worst one.
Yeah.
Speaking of worst, two other subjects before we go today. First one, Rudy.
Not the football movie. Not the
Queen
football movie.
for a day, Rudy, who
Oh.
recently was sanctioned by a U.S. judge for failing to search for and turn over records in a defamation lawsuit brought by former Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, mentioned.
Mhm.
The two that he accused of passing little thumb drives around to each other like little vials
Called
of
them
cocaine
drug dealers.
Yes.
basically.
Yes, because apparently he wasn't doing his disclosure, and he said that his lawyers maintained that his searches were adequate and argued that it would cost more than $320,000 for him to access the database containing the messages. So he had databases and messages and databases, whatnot. So he handled the one part of the stuff. But he said, but all this other stuff, if I have to like go through databases, my cell phones and whatnot, and my 16 cell phones or something, right? How many did he have? Or a ridiculous amount. This is going to cost me $3,000, and so he wasn't doing it. So yeah, the judge previously said Giuliani, who served as mayor of New York, must produce nearly all records requested by the election workers by June 30th. He claimed poverty. The judge said, well, then prove it. File some financials with us. I'm not sure if he actually got around to that. And then the judge,
didn't.
Beryl Howell, found that Giuliani arbitrarily limited his search of a database that contained messages and documents in his possession prior to April 2021, when federal authorities seized his electronic devices, plural, and conducted an imprecise manual search of messages from after April 2021. Lawyers for the plaintiffs, Moss and Freeman, accused Giuliani of failing to fulfill basic obligations to turn over records sought as part of a lawsuit and refusing to detail his efforts to preserve and collect the documents. He said that it would cost $320,000. Freeman and Moss sued Giuliani and the right-wing news organization One Act America in 2021 over statements and broadcasts tying Moss and Freeman to false conspiracy about vote rigging. And it seems that the judge decided that Giuliani must pay attorney fees and costs associated with the plaintiff's efforts to force Giuliani to search for the documents in the first place. Boom.
So Beryl Howell is a name you're going to hear a lot in future years, because she's a DC judge where a lot of these crimes happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a fan of this crew because they've been in her court a couple of times now, and it's always this nonsense.
Isn't it Beryl Howell the one that asked specifically, did you guys ever consider charges for treason?
Yes.
That's the one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that is. And what happened was, Giuliani, exactly as you say, Giuliani said, "Oh, I don't have I think it was 300, some obscene amount of money for a company that keeps all my electronic records." And then the judge said, "Well, prove it. Show us your financials." And then he's like, "Oh, turns out I found the money." And he just then produced what he was told to. Going back to your point from earlier, when held accountable, these people act very different.
Mm-hmm.
But when they think they can get away with stuff, they're going to try to get away with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know we have a lot of U.S. district judges that watch both our shows. Fellas, ladies, take a note. Take a note.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take sass.
So this happens to him. And then later on, we hear that Rudy decided to become a queen for a day and had a proffer interview with the team of Jack Smith, former prosecutor. Was it the ICC or the War Crimes Tribunal? I can't remember if it was the International Criminal Court or International War Crimes Tribunal. But, a guy that's used to having very complicated cases with very, 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 very bad people. Apparently, and this type of interview is one where, for one day only, if you tell us absolutely everything, and we do mean absolutely everything, and you don't lie, and we really mean don't lie, you'll get off scot-free. And Rudy did brag in the past about having an insurance policy.
Yep. I'm pretty sure he's saying like a canary. Absolutely. And just rivers of hair dye flying down his face the whole time. Here's my bet. Just like you can go more detailed than betting on a team to win or lose. You can call the specific points. I'm betting that both of these things are true. That Rudy Giuliani absolutely flipped on Trump and gave him everything, and he's still going to go to prison.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I think he's enough of a dingbat to have lied about just enough to get him tossed in prison and to have his testimony used against Trump. I'm excited.
Let's get the popcorn ready because this is going to be entertaining.
It's gonna if you're following this type of stuff, the next couple of years is going to be delightful. Picked a good time to be interested in this. Oh yeah.
Finger licking good. Call the colonel.
We're gonna roast these piggies.
Apple in the mouth and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. The last one.
All right,
maybe the best one. It seems that the Senate is passing a bill that would require the Supreme Court of the United States of Canada. United States of Canada. Yeah, maybe we should do that, actually. Yo.
Nip this stuff in the bud.
Yo, New England, Minnesota, hey, California. Your man ain't treating you right. You want a real man? Come see us in Canada.
Huh? I can't even put up an argument. They're not wrong right now.
Join us. So apparently, because that white supremacy vote, right? Just sort of like, and apparently, the House has determined that this bill is going nowhere. It's DOA in the House. So the House of Representatives does not want the Supreme Court of the United States to have ethics rules that it follows about like gifts that it can receive. And when it is, they should recuse themselves from a case. Looking at you, Clarence.
Clarence Thomas, the Michael Jordan of corruption.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're going to build statues to that guy out of gold on whatever Nazi island that his billionaire friend owns.
Right.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk about like taking the bricks of the wall like this and getting over them and then using them to build the wall behind it, this guy has his position because of affirmative action, and he just ruled to remove it.
Oh yeah, I mean look.
I got mine. So fuck all y'all.
Maybe he's an incredibly skilled legal mind. Maybe, I don't know, because all his opinions have been the opinions of some billionaire. I have no idea how Clarence Thomas feels about the law, other than his opinion can be bought. I will tell you what you will see, and it will be in some more succinct form than this. Next year, this is going to go away. You will stop hearing about the Supreme Court for a good long time, because this being America, they don't have to work the whole year. They're leaving, and you won't hear about it till next year. When you hear about it next, Democrats will find a quick way of saying, remember all that corruption that you saw? Nothing got done about it. The reason nothing got done about it is the House of Representatives go out and vote. That will be what you hear. That, I think, is the correct strategy. Incidentally, it's also true But knowing the short attention span of the voter, it'll be late summer next year. So almost exactly a year from now that this next comes up. Or the next time it turns out that Clarence Thomas is found to have taken a massive bribe. So could be next week. Could be tomorrow. Could be literally right now. When we log off, we could get a new headline.
So here's the thing. Thomas
possible.
and Alito are the two oldest on the bench, right? I think Alito's like 73 and Thomas is like 75 or something.
God,
So
yeah.
They're the next to retire.
But remember, evil adds longevity in a cruel twist.
Clearly.
It does.
Clearly. Now, is there any possibility in your mind? Because so far, Senator Dick Durbin has not subpoenaed his robed ass to come to the Senate Judiciary Committee and come and testify, because he invited Chief Justice John Roberts and he said, no, I would rather not. Thank you very much. And they requested, but they did not subpoena him. Dianne Feinstein is back. They couldn't because she was away with shingles.
Yeah.
But now they're back and they have the majority. Because why hasn't anybody dragged their ass back in at the moment? Because they do have subpoena power to bring in one of the justice and have them testify under oath at a Senate Judiciary Committee, which I am sure that will bring some of them to lie. And I'm just saying, is there a way that there could be so much people can make trouble for him and process and a lot of media stuff that he's just going to decide, it's not worth it trying to write it out. I'm just going to retire.
Oh, that'd be great. I wish our country functioned like that and had the people of the caliber to make it function like that. No, they won't be invited back in.
No.
First of all, Feinstein is, there we go, got it right. Feinstein is not really back. I mean, her body is, but her mind is in the 90s somewhere. I feel bad poking fun at her, but come on, retire, buddy. Second, for the reason I just explained, that the American, or at a different thing, the American voters' childlike attention span. Nothing Supreme Court will be talked about or dealt with until close to election time. I do think, though, it is for relatively, even if I don't agree with it, it's for a logical reason, which is that it would not matter if Clarence Thomas ate a plate of those baby backs right next to Trump in front of cameras. Republicans will do nothing. So until we get rid of all Republican majorities and we're back to a blue House, Senate, well, blue for us, House, Senate, and White House, Democrat, House, Senate, and White House, nothing will happen. So there's no point in making a big stink about it. And also they're gone for the summer. So no one's going to care because we're in hell. But hopefully, with these young bucks coming up behind us, joining us in the voting booth next year, hopefully we're going to get some real change, and this will absolutely be revisited when there are the votes to do something about it. Heartbreaking, but
yeah. So, but okay,
at which point, yes, they'll retire.
There clearly seems to be an adopted justice program at the Supreme Court.
Justice. Oh, adopted justice.
There are people that get assigned to certain justices, it seems, from all these societies and whatnot, who go and talk to them and show up at their cocktail parties and invite them on vacations and at dinners. And
it's like Big Brother, Little Sister, or Big Brother, Big Sister. But
literally,
it's like matching up a billionaire with your corrupt official.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously.
God, that's a good way to put it. And it's so sad. Oh, yeah, that's it exactly.
I mean, because, here's the thing, right? Harlan Crow, 25-year friendship, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Which started immediately after Thomas got in, but yeah.
Yes, Supreme Court justice who happens to be black, who can't seem to keep pubic hairs off Coke cans. I don't know with what he's drinking it. And then a white billionaire.
It's funny because it's true.
And then white billionaire who happens to have linens embossed with Nazi insignia, according to Ben Shapiro, was to remind himself that Nazis were bad and Hitler was bad. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, of all
I
the
have this
friends that
framed
Clarence
portrait.
Thomas could have, Uncle Clarence Tom,
Oh,
yes, could have picked.
gotta put those on. 'cause
Yikes.
That's a burn.
Well, damn.
Tom's in his name.
It's a,
I
did not
didn't
see that
name
one
the
coming.
motherfucker.
But
Uncle Clarence Tom happens to pick one white friend who happens to have a copy of Mein Kampf and paintings painted by Hitler in his home. That is not disturbing on its own, apparently. Then they go to Man Camp.
yeah, what the hell? What the
Because-
hell?
Come and tell me that somebody's not going one day at Man Camp when I was playing the clarinet at band camp.
It's a little.
I'm gay, and that sounds way gay to me.
And just a side note, just as a side note, Clarence Thomas, when he's talking about this, he's like, "Oh, so I went on a trip with the guy, but I didn't really know." No, this is Alito, when he's talking about a
Yes.
trip he's on, he's like, but I didn't really know him. They had a free seat on the plane, and the wine we drank, it wasn't even that expensive." And that little comment there, I'm like, oh, that comment about the wine. That's how the rich and powerful are catty to each other. Through the
Mhm.
media, he's saying like, get some better wine next time, man. What the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah,
What was
yeah.
that? Was that
What is it? Ripple Blanc?
19 Crimes? Yeah.
Night Train? Thunderbird?
Manischewitz?
Uh,
Barefoot?
What's the word? Thunderbird?
Yeah.
So
Garbage.
he's buying his properties and letting his mom live there. He's paying tuition for some, I guess, person that Clarence Thomas is not his actual son, but I guess has sort of adopted him.
Yeah.
But it's like paying for people's private tuition, buying your homes and renovating and letting your mom live in it rent free, taking you on $100,000 valued trips on yachts that have manservants. I'm just sitting there and going like,
Seems normal
this
to me.
is well,
You don't do that for your friends?
But here's the thing: it seems like a rather one-way friendship, doesn't it?
Well, listen, you have to understand.
What is Clarence Thomas? I prefer the Walmart parking lot rather than the beaches because I come from regular stock guy. Given Harlan for what does Harlan getting out of this friendship?
Well, I think you're underestimating how charming Clarence Thomas is in conversation.
Yes,
And-
yes.
and-
Anita
and how
Hill
he-
was very impressed.
Yeah, and he does little sentimental things like he'll write a card on your birthday, and so it gets there like on time. So he must have sent it a couple days back. He remembered, or he'll do things like rule in favor of the position that you wanted in a major Supreme Court case. Little friend things like that.
You actually have before the court yourself.
Yeah,
That
you know.
probably should have recused yourself.
he knows a lot of jokes, stuff like that. Not
And apparently his
corrupt.
wife is charming.
Oh,
The Walmart
yeah.
parking lot one is the one that gets me because I'm like, really,
That's
Clarence? You know, people camp out in Walmart parking. Oh, why would
People-
he-
Oh God, that tells me that not only does Clarence Thomas not like regular things, but he has no idea what people who like regular things like. Because
Clearly.
people that have to go to Walmart don't like hanging out at Walmart. That's not why
No.
Walmart's there.
They don't even bother to get dressed up
No.
to go.
No, no, they're there
It's
because
just
they
frickin'
have
Walmart.
to.
I'm going in my buddy slippers and my jammy pants. It's
And it's
It's
Walmart.
just
It tells
Walmart. Who cares?
It's
it
not
tells
worth the
you
effort
so-
of making this happen.
and
It
this
does. It tells you so much.
Yeah, this guy thinks these people are at Walmart because they just like that stuff.
No.
We're there for the reasons Grizz was talking about earlier, because this is the only way we could buy food. just so happens that our food and clothing come from the same insane place. We think it's a clown show too, but we're required to be at this clown show. Oh, I'm glad you get to take little tourist vacations for photo shoots at the parking lot of the purgatory we have to shop at.
Oh,
But this isn't by choice.
you can just hear the music. Do, 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 do. And now if you
Well,
look
and
in their natural habitat, the poems.
He's like, I'm
Look at them
going
come
to
back
feed
with
them.
bags.
I understand
Well,
you like
and
these
let's-
chips, these cheesy poofs.
cheesy poofs. And let's not forget that oftentimes in
cheesy
front of
poofs.
many Walmart stores, you will have these giant bins for food bank donations.
Yeah.
Right? For their employees that they don't
Yep.
pay enough.
We are truly in hell. The good news
We
is, as you guys said right off the jump, these new cats that are joining us here on the political scene, they don't
ain't
fall for
having
this
it.
nonsense.
No.
So
No.
Even if we get even if the next generation of politicians is just as slimy and just as two-faced as our current generation, at least they're going to know that their constituents won't put up with the same nonsense. So they'll have to at least pretend to be decent human beings, and that will be an
Agreed.
improvement.
Agreed. Oh, I have something that's just come across my headline here. I'm going to put this on the screen because I think it's something we should announce. It's some sad news, but it was inevitable. The passing of Tony Bennett at the age of 96.
Yes.
Mm.
It was inevitable. I mean, he was 96 and he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 7 or 8 years ago, I think so.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show when he stopped. When he announced he was going to stop performing live.
Touring and performing, yeah. It was inevitable. But at 96, he lived a good life and he entertained millions of people throughout his entire very long career.
Oh, yeah.
So he will be missed because he was one of the last of the original crooners, right?
Yeah.
As Abba would say, thanks for the music.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a while yet with ABBA.
Yes.
I'll listen to some Tony Bennett in his honor today.
She gets too hungry for dinner at 8. That's right.
Well, there's a quote here.
Tramp.
There's a quote here. Tony Bennett was often praised by his peers, but never more meaningfully than by what Frank Sinatra said in a 1965 Life magazine interview. For my money, Tony Bennett is the best singer in the business. He excites me when I watch him. He moves me. He's the singer who gets across what the composer has in mind, and probably a little more. I mean, that's from the chairman of the board, right?
Yeah.
Praise.
Yeah.
That's
high praise.
Beautiful.
Lovely. And I'm sure because they struck up a good friendship, I can't wait to see what Lady Gaga has to say.
Oh yeah, she'll yeah.
Because they were like,
because I'm sure
this.
They were really tight.
It was love.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did duet
Yeah.
a couple duet albums together. So yeah.
I'm gonna compare what she says to Old Blue Eyes. We'll see who comes out on top. I'm curious.
Well, Blue Eyes has got a lot of cred though.
He's got
a little bit more street cred.
He's got a little street cred there. He's got time in the game with Tony.
Well, it was the story. Who was it? Was it Red Skelton, or was it Skelton? Was it Red Skelton or was it Don Rickles? I can't remember. It was one of them.
I hope it was Rickles.
Or it might have been Soupy Sales. I can't remember.
Whatever
It was one of the three who said Frank Sinatra saved my life once in 1962. He goes, "Oh, really? What happened?" He says, "Well, I had run up some gambling debts, and the casino pit bosses decided to take me out behind the pit, behind the casino, and lay the boots to me.
Ooh.
And Frank Sinatra came out and said, 'Okay, guys, he's had enough. Let him up.'"
Ooh, I think it was Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
When I can see him.
Rickles would make sense based on my knowledge of his shenanigans. But that's delightful. I don't care if it's true or not. I choose to believe that story happened exactly like that. Including Sinatra, who famously got mad when people asked him if he knew mob guys. 100%. Yes. Yeah. Even if he didn't personally know mob guys, mob guys would have loved him and would have done what he said anyway. Like, that's Sinatra. All right, let's go.
It's Sinatra.
It's like, my grandmother will have my nuts in a vice if I don't do what Frankie says. She loves him.
I'm going to be the guy that kicks somebody over the objections of Frankie. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Here's something that's just come across the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting, gents. You'll like this. This is from Midas Touch. Midas Touch? I guess
They
Midas
just spell
Touch.
it weird.
Whoa.
Yeah, Judge Eileen Cannon has set the trial date for the Trump documents case for Monday, May 20th, 2024. Deadline for the filing of any motions. Deadline for the filing of any motion to introduce evidence.
minute.
Government SIPA. Like,
I don't like
Wait,
that.
I was celebrating 2024
That's a year
March
from now.
20th. Son
Jack
of a
Smith.
P.
Jack Smith was asking for December 11th, 2023. She
Yeah.
initially set a date of August 14th, knowing that there was no way it's going to be met because of the security things. To look like she wasn't going to set it far in the distance, that she was being reasonable. Now Jack Smith said before Trump could even protest, August 14th said, no, we're going to need till December 11th because like Trump's lawyers still don't have the security clearance to see the documents yet. So we got to kind of take care of that first. And then she comes back and she adds another, 6 months?
Yeah, I mean that's not the end of the world. That is later than I would have liked.
But that is really that. No, but that is. She didn't do it on the first one.
Yeah,
right. Because everybody said like that's because she knew she could get away with it.
And
because,
look,
but now that was the real date that she intended to set all along.
I'm putting my pistols down here for a second. I have all kinds of beef with Eileen Cannon. I will absolutely join you in that lack of trust. I don't think any of the flaws you see her encountering right now are going to be a result of shadiness. She is shady. We should be concerned. But you have to understand she is wildly inexperienced for the job she's currently doing. Not only like the job as a whole, like, and I mean, like, she literally does not know how the procedure works. Add on to that, this is a way bigger deal than maybe anybody's prepared for. She doesn't, and she knows this. She's a smart gal, no matter what you think of her personally, and I have a very low opinion of her. But she is just going to be trying to keep her head above water. She doesn't even know enough about how the process works to do something corrupt with it. So at this point, I'm sure this is going to change as time goes on. But at this point, she's just like, hey, anybody have suggestions for when this thing should be? Oh, you both gave suggestions? I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm sure we're going to see corruption later. But right now, she's like literally just reading up case law and trying to figure out how to run the trial. It's insane. We're in a really weird position.
I don't know we're up the middle, though, because I believe that the request from the Trump camp was, and about that documents trial, could you start it like never, or at least...
Yeah, never was their first suggestion.
Or at least, if not never, after the election.
But, I mean, they literally did, like, indefinitely was a word used.
Yes.
Like, what? That's so dumb, it's almost genius. Like, I'm not asking you to say not guilty without a trial. I'm just saying postpone it forever. Like, okay, that's novel. I'll give you that. How do you feel about that March 24th date? That I'm just glad that we're going to start seeing evidence before.
Is it? I thought it was May. Was it not March?
March. It might have been May. It was I'm sorry. It was the later one.
Okay.
I'm just glad we're going to be seeing evidence before the election. I'm glad she didn't say like mid-November 2024. But it does. It may. I don't know.
May 20. But May
nervous.
comes around and watch, like, there's another reason to delay from Trump or
because I don't believe it's real. I think they're going to find ways to get extensions, and I think by the time they're asking, she's going to be confident enough to say like, sure, I'll grant you for this reason that I just looked up in a book, and yes, you can have that extension. Oh, coincidentally, it's right after the election.
Yeah, but like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And everybody seems to go crazy. So, we can't do absolutely anything whatsoever within a year before an election.
Well,
people go mad.
I guess too effing bad, because politics aren't supposed to affect criminal trials, not just the other way around. I really, one thing to understand about the effed up way the United States works, that's not a law that says that. That's just an opinion. It's literally an Office of Legal Counsel opinion.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
idea that we are allowing this level of corruption based on a couple of jackasses in the 70s saying, "Man, I don't feel like it."
Yeah,
I
as
don't want.
Nixon
I
was
don't
trying
want to
to
go after
cover his
power.
butt,
Yeah,
because the only reason that exists, right, is because Spiro Agnew and Nixon were both corrupt.
Yep.
Independently on their own in different ways.
Oh yeah.
At the same time. And Nixon said, well, gee, I don't want any splashback on that. So let's just pass this little Office of the Legal Counsel memo that says that
Yeah.
while the vice president can, the president can't.
And we have clung on to that since, to our detriment.
It's like
It's
Charleston
madness.
Heston, right? From my cold dead hands.
When
Fought a
the
whole-
president says it, it's not illegal.
Fought a whole war to get rid of kings, and then we just named crowns the presidency, and that was that.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, Joe.
Jake, my good friend, my old pal, my new pal, just my pal.
Absolutely. Fellas, it's been a blast.
I love
It
it when
has
you
been.
come here. It's so much fun.
Anytime. y'all are welcome on what you can do.
Oh, well, let us
yeah.
know whenever. Like this, where you just let us know.
I
and
shall.
we'll
We'll
show
arrange
up.
it. When I'm
Tell us
not
when to
flying
show
by
up
the
and
seat
what's
of my
where.
pants. Absolutely. So, that's been most nights of late, but I'm back in the swing of things. So yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, Kip.
Well, I've got some music for us.
Oh
folks.
yes, the Kenny.
I got another track
Before we
from
go.
Spenny that we recorded a couple of days. So before we go, let's just go out with this and have a listen to some blues from our good friend Spencer Rice. This is the second track we recorded, and well, let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Yeah, you drop down, mama. Let your daddy see. You got something, honey. You keep worrying me. Come on down. Stand out all night long. You must be young, so I want to treat you. Got a jack of diamonds told me. We were space. Come on now, Spenny. Let's get on that creek way.
Get it.
Stand out all night long. You must be young, son. I want you to. Got the sweetest peaches, ain't growing on the tree. Sweet as honey, ain't coming from the bees. All night long. You must be young, son. I treat you wrong. One of these mornings, I'm acting like a squirrel. Man, I'll grab a little snap, grab a whirl. Stand out all night long. Yeah, you young, son. Someone to treat you wrong. Yeah, you gotta drop down, mama. Let your daddy see. You got been out all night long. You must be young, son. I'm gonna treat you wrong. I'm gonna treat your daddy wrong.
Woo!
Our good friend Spencer Rice just tearing up the blues on a steel guitar there.
Yes.
Little slide, little harp, little singing. Like the man's got it. He's got the goods. He's got the goods.
You
Did
tell
anybody
me.
get sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just when and where I can get that, and I will be picking up that album. Excellent, man.
Did anybody get a little bit of That's All Right vibes? That's All Right, Mama
Yeah.
vibes on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little bit, eh?
A
It's
little
like
bit
you're
of that.
sitting there going, "Oh, that's all right." Oh no, there it goes. It verbs just a couple little phrases here and there. It's like, oh no, and then it turns.
Weirdly,
We're going to try and record some more stuff, but get video down the next time. So, yeah, we'll do some more stuff in the future. He plays shows from time to time where he'll just go out. Like he was in Kingston a couple of months back and did a live show. So he just literally him and a guitar and a harmonica on stage, and away he goes.
dang, that's awesome, man.
He's got
Amazing
fast moving
timing.
fingers. I'll tell you that.
I'm
Oh yeah,
wildly jealous of your association there, and I intend fully to mooch off it.
Okay, but you understand that,
Feel
like
free.
you're now right in similar circles, right?
Yes.
Right, because we're swimming in the same waters.
Look,
well,
I'm
I'm looking at the comments. They're like, "Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Jake. We love seeing you, Jake. Thanks for coming, Jake. Thank you, Jake. High fives. Yes, great to get Jake's input. Like, people love you, man.
I
love you
do
too.
love you guys. You got a hell of a cool crowd, I'll tell you. I
think so.
loved
We're
stopping
very
by
lucky.
and hanging out with you fellas. I always do. I
And
can't
thank
wait
you
for the
with
next.
crowd, by the way, who are watching.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, if y'all are up very early, given the lateness of our last show.
Yeah. Oh man,
All right, fellas.
you
I
are
will
very generous
see
with
you.
your time. Thanks.
Oh, are you kidding me? Anytime. I will see you around, y'all.
All right,
All right. You take care.
it's love and it's real. Ciao.
Bye.
I love it when Jake. It's just always a happy show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though we
Well,
discuss
and
different
to
stuff.
get the input too that we don't have the insight that we don't have, his input and insight that we simply don't have, right? Because we're viewing from afar on the other side of the border. But when you have somebody who is involved in the same manner and we are, but can give us an insight that we simply don't have,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Because we're outside looking in,
Yeah.
and he's inside looking out, going, "Help!
Knocking on the glass.
Help!"
Before we go, we have some news. Canadians national women's soccer team played their first match last night.
Oh, did they win? I didn't get to see it.
It was a draw.
I was in bed already.
I went to bed too.
Oh,
I
was
was
it?
tired. Yeah. It was a draw. 0-0. Team Niagara got a red card along the way.
Well, they couldn't afford to lose to Nigeria.
No, they couldn't afford to
They
lose.
could not afford to lose.
A draw
So a draw's
it's okay. It could
negatively
become
impacting.
meaningful later. Could
Mhm.
not.
Good. Yeah.
Not necessarily surprising in the sense because even though the team's putting on a good face, let's be honest, Canada Soccer did absolutely everything it could to screw up their preparation
Oh yeah.
and send them
Yeah.
there with a hand tied behind their back.
Mhm.
It seems that Team Nigeria is also going through a similar pay equity battle, which we never hear about because it's Nigeria. Right? We don't report on that stuff. But apparently they're going through the same thing. But yeah, 0-0. So still Australia, still Ireland to face. Australia won its first match against Australia, so they got the full 3 points.
Australia won its first match against Australia.
Ireland, sorry.
Okay. I was like, huh?
Sorry. Yep. So we'll see how that goes. And the other thing, médaille numéro 2, medal number 2 for Team Canada at the World Aquatics Championships. Pamela Ware on, I believe it was the 1 meter springboard. might be wrong, or 3-meter springboard individual, got a medal, finished third. And this was after finishing fifth by fewer than 2 points on the synchro 3-meter springboard, and fourth by 0.65 points on the
Not
on
even
the
a full
individual.
point.
So it's like she could actually, this could actually be her third technically, with
Yeah.
just 1 or 2 points difference here or there. So she's been performing extremely well, and it's nice to see her get some hardware.
Summer hasn't performed yet, or
No,
competed
swimming
yet, I
hasn't
don't
started
think.
yet. I think swimming starts officially tomorrow.
Okay.
And water swimming.
Because I know she's been warming up, and Devin's been talking her up and chatting with her, and I'm like, okay, we got to get Devin back on the show when he gets back
Yeah,
home.
he said he would come.
Love to have him on. Okay,
said he would
excellent.
come.
Good.
So we got 2 medals out of the pool. We had a fourth place in one of it's called artistic swimming now. We used to call it synchronized swimming. In the singles event, the competitor for Canada finished fourth, just missing the podium there. But nothing in the open water swim, and in water polo, the women's team made it out of they played the round matches. So they're into the playoff rounds, and their first opponent. This is the knockout winner. Win and you're in, and lose and you're out. So their first opponent will be South Africa. They finished second in the pool. They almost won their pool because they lost to Hungary their first match 11-10, and Hungary is a usually pretty good nation when it comes to water polo. So hopefully it means that they have a good chance to go, in the elimination round, go well. Team Canada, the men, were playing their match this morning against France, the last one, because they were tied for second place in water polo. If they win, they get to move forward to the playoffs as well. So I'll just take a little look here and note France beat Canada, so the men are eliminated. Maybe no, eliminate. Oh, maybe. I have to check that. They haven't put out the draw yet, but they finished third in their pool. So right now it's not looking so great. Oh no, 8th of finals. So yeah, they've made the playoffs. All right, cool. So there you go. So we'll hear more from the water polo players, but yeah, the pool is where things are really going to start happening, and I believe the competitions start tomorrow for just the regular swimming events. They usually have a lot of the other events in the first week, and then swimming in the second week. So keep your fingers crossed that we'll be hearing a lot of good things happening for Team Canada, both on the soccer pitch and in the pool. All right, Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right. I forgot that during the show, the computer means I do not have a script put up again. So while I do that, Kits, this is the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Of course, Karen is sharing. Caring is sharing, and sharing is caring as well. So please let your I flipped them. So please let your peeps and poops know about us, because you have the beautiful, beautiful, and lovely mouths from whom we want the word coming out. So let them know. Because democracy is something that you do, please take some time to write your MPs. Let them know that you want some better accountability, and that you would like for them to stop insulting our intelligence when they get through the nanosecond answers. And also, if you have the opportunity, do donate to the Red Cross, because those fires are still burning and we still do need your help. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. And if your platform is not Beaver Grizzly friendly, or your old pal Jake friendly, why you want it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jake releases his shows as podcasts, or he's strictly YouTube. I forgot to ask him.
I don't know. We'll have to ask him that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. We love to hear from you, so please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you can subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, all in lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words, and we'll slide right into your box when we have something ready for you. That was for the wicked crowd. Sometimes they may not be familiar with us.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us, by the way. Because I have a slightly naughty sense of humor, just so you know.
Yes, he does.
Why
Yes,
not? Why not also? But I say it with batting eyelashes and innocent look. So.
Mm.
Uh, why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. And make like Kit Elaine and smash those buttons. That squiggly under my chin is what you scan with your phone to get to our pod page to subscribe. And the one by Mr. Grizzly's head will bring you to our True North Eager Beaver Hydration Fund. Yes, or what we call staff. So Guinness, Caesars,
you name it.
you name it. Hot chocolate, because you are what you drink, even in the summer. And of course, coffee and cold brew coffee beer. Yes. These
Nitro cold brew coffee
nitro,
beer.
yeah. So yes, these are all the people we hire as staff who help us, produce and write, and sometimes even while we're hosting and get through our day.
I'm staff.
Yes.
I'm staff. I'm staff.
So, yes. And for some reason, our staff keeps on disappearing on us. So we need your help to replenish them. We just do. So
I'm busy.
If you go, Mr. Grizzly can't do it all. He's just one beaver, one bear.
One.
I'm the beaver.
Grizzly.
I'm just one beaver.
One grizzly. You're the beaver.
It's been a long week, kids. So if you would like to help us, help your beaver get his head on straight so he stops flipping things. A Caesar would really help with that. Just saying. So you scan that thing by Mr. Grizzly's head, and that will bring you to our emergency hydration fund. Or if you do not have the ability to scan that code, you let your fingers or your voice command do the walking to coffee. And that is spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And that's where you can make your donation to make sure, I'm going to say it. I know you're waiting. We stay moist. I know you were waiting for it. I know you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jen loves it when you do that.
I know.
Okay, let's go. I got to wrap. I got to get out of here. I got an appointment.
From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Take care of one another. I don't know.
He's all out.
I'm all out.
He's all out of wisdom. We've pumped him too hard, kids. All week. So it's, come on. It was sitting right there.
Yeah, no.
Thanks to our old pal Jake for joining us today. Thank you to the wicked crowd for joining us today. We love you. It's love and it's real. Come back anytime. You're always welcome at the Beaver Lodge. Thank you to our kids and cubs. You know we adore you. All right, Mr. Grizzly, roll them credits, please.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
All right, kids, you have yourselves a beaverific weekend. And next week, Monday and Tuesday, we'll probably have some pre-records for you because I'm going camping. with my Beaver sweetie.
Well, there you go.
There you
There
go.
you go. When do you head out?
We're going to go Sunday, Monday,
Oh,
Tuesday.
okay.
So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Right.
See ya.
ciao.